Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Republicans demand 1-year delay of Obamacare. Democratic senator backs pause of individual mandate. Obama advisor compares Republicans to terrorists, kidnappers, arsonists. More unions are turning against it as they see their premiums explode and their deductibles. Read, there's no need for conversations about this. Senate chaplain, Lord deliver us from governing by crisis. That my dad wrote an article 2 weeks ago he wanted me to publish. I never got around to putting it on Infowars.com about how they govern under crisis and national emergency. That is just some of the news we're going to be covering. Buchanan to GOP fix bayonets. Only 1% say they now have insurance for the first time. Reps expose abortion slush fund. McCain partnership worst he's ever seen. That's just some of the headlines up on drudgereport.com. It goes on. Politics have reached civil war levels. That's what they're calling resisting their Obamacare operation is civil war level. You see, they've always been branding Obama as Abe Lincoln, and before he even got elected, saying, if they try to block us, because the globalists know that the constitutional remedy is state nullification, he'll just become the new Lincoln and federalize everything, as they are already federalizing the entire system. So that's some of the news up on drudgereport.com. Continuing with our top stories from Infowars.com. Seymour Hersh, bin Laden raid, one big lie. And that's buried in an interview with the London Guardian. Will you guys print me the actual London Guardian link? Thank you. That's Cy Hersh, ladies and gentlemen, who exposed Cheney's plan to attack U.S. ships in the Strait of Hormuz to blame the Iranian government in 2007. But George W. Bush, of all people, blocked Cheney, who was really operating as president. One of the few times Bush actually stood up and operated as president, because Bush likes the Navy SEALs, is what basically came out from the White House sources through Seymour Hersh. And he didn't like the idea of blowing up Navy SEALs, because they were going to order the Navy SEALs to attack a U.S. Navy ship in the Strait of Hormuz, and the Navy SEALs, we don't have all the details, but reportedly didn't like the idea. And then, of course, Fox Fallon resigned over it all. And that's one reason we didn't get an attack on Iran. I mean, thank God, at least our Navy isn't evil enough to blow up our own ships and then obviously have the Navy then attack the fake PT boats painted up blue like the Iranian boats. And I guess the Navy SEALs are supposed to jump out and survive somehow. But, I mean, imagine getting orders from Dick Cheney to start making fake PT boats to launch a false flag. I mean, that shows they must have the SEALs doing incredibly corrupt stuff that they would even try to give them an order like that. I mean, even if you hate the Iranian government, you don't attack a U.S. ship to blame it on them. But that's the type of dirty tricks that go on. And, ladies and gentlemen, Cy Hersh, he says that the bin Laden story is 100% fiction. 100% fake and one big lie and pathetic. Yes, that's what I'm telling you. The whole thing is a lie. And I've talked to Navy SEAL families off air, on air. I have a Navy SEAL contact that 1 week after it happened was absolutely outraged. He was in SEAL Team 3, had a friend in SEAL Team 6 who is still alive. And they all knew that that helicopter with 23 Navy SEALs on it and Army forces as well was blown up. And remember, you heard that here first, and then now it's all come out. You heard that here first. We don't make stuff up. This is dangerous to have this type of information. When we come back, even bigger false flag news straight ahead. This is unbelievable. Their entire narrative is collapsing. Introducing Pro One. All of your Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Back 7 o'clock Central with Infowars Nightly News. And then I shall return live this Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, with the Sunday transmission. Ladies and gentlemen, it is already the 27th day. The 27th day of September 2013. Don't blink your eyes, because before you can say Jack Frost, the winter would have passed, and we will go into 2014 and beyond, ladies and gentlemen. And no one who is even halfway awake or informed could tell me that, or anybody else, that you're bored. We are moving towards an information technology singularity that will irrevocably change human destiny forever, for better or worse. We are seeing the technotronic age really begin to run when it was just crawling a few years ago. We are seeing the rise of the mega tyrants, but also every action has an equal and opposite reaction. We're seeing the rise of the human spirit to resist it. We will see the best in people and the worst in people. Folks that we thought were going to be allies of liberty will join Sauron. Folks that we thought were going to join evil will come to the side of good. This is what happens throughout history during times of great crisis. And you are living, undoubtedly, in the greatest time in human history. It is a fabulous adventure. Fabulous, beyond imagination. Marvel at all the intricate facets of reality and the expansion of information and technology and all of the ugly and painful things that are happening as well, the destruction and twisting of the human spirit on top of it. You will see the heights of human liberty. You will see the depths of human degradation and enslavement, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us. People worldwide right now are deciding which side they're on. Do you stand with libertarian, pro-human ideas, or do you stand with the collective, with the gang, with the centralized systems that have always delivered in their final stages hell on earth? Yes, collectivism can actually deliver empowerment and wealth in its first phases. But even when it's done for the best of intentions, like the ring of doom, the ring of Mordor, it always turns towards evil in the end. To use that analogy, there were rings given unto men, rings of power, but in secret, one ring was forged to rule them all, and in the darkness bind them. And that is the New World Order. That's what you have to understand using that analogy, using that archetypal imagery that J.R.R. Tolkien, the great sociologist, anthropologist, archaeologist, linguist, and folklore researcher was putting forward in his Christian cosmology of Lord of the Rings. It is Christian cosmology. That's his words, not mine. Just as C.S. Lewis, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And it's all basically the same archetypal story over and over again, and we resonate with it because it's true. And you've got all these excuses and all the free stuff and all the power that evil offers you up front. But in the end, it is enslavement in the Ice Queen's palace in the ninth circle of hell. For the ninth circle of hell is not fiery but frozen and cold, devoid of any passion but the dark lust of death. Now, my friends, again, it is Friday, the 27th day. This is teleprompter-free, talking point-free, worldwide radio broadcast. And if I sound excited and sound like I'm in a good mood, it's because in the midst of this huge battle, we are seeing enemy formations, enemy capital ships coming in. If you image this as a science fiction attack with armies meeting on the plains, land, sea, and air, and huge troop ships coming in out of orbit from the technocratic launch bases and motherships are blowing up in huge fiery crescendos in the night sky. And our forces are having victory after victory, after victory, after victory, after victory, after victory. But I'll tell you why. The human instinct is in a death struggle because once the enemy technocracy comes in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, depending on how long we can hold it back, the supremacy of the enemy is going to be palpable. Right now, we've been hit by their vanguard setup operations. If we can defeat them, back them off, we can build a technological, cultural, spiritual fortress system that can defeat them. Do you understand the analogy I'm giving you here in a military parlance and popular culture? We have to defeat this wave and then really get ready for the main motherships that are coming in out of deep space right now. You understand? We haven't even been hit, ladies and gentlemen, by the next phase if they get their plan in. That's why they're so arrogant and think they're still going to win, even though we're beating them, because we're only defeating right now what we think is their main army is only their special forces operations, literally. Do you understand that? And that's mainly because their own operatives that are still human, not AI computer that'll follow any order, understand instinctively that humanity's under attack and want to join us. So that's the reason we're defeating them, is we have moles in all their operations. We have people quietly sabotaging, quietly leaking, quietly just doing nothing. And that's why we're blowing them to bits, because they're not even firing on us. Do you understand that? The people they have firing on us are little egomaniac, mindless idiots, low-level, mid-level, and at the top. But the main strata through the bottom into the mid-level is on our side. But they have minions within the mid-structure and the lower structure attacking us. And the entire top structure, psychopathic, sworn to dominance, sworn to technocratic power, sworn to transhumanism and their delusion of everlasting life through their own creation of godhood. They don't believe in God yet. They will become God, as Ray Kurzweil has said. He wants to become God. Google says they want to become God and be omnipresent and take our free will. They are the enemy of the universe, the enemy of all that's good, the enemy of free will, the enemy of life, the enemy of art, the enemy of creativity, the enemy of security, the enemy of every man, woman, and child on this planet. And you listening to me today know that's true. No matter who you are, if you still have humanity in you and you're not a psychopath or you're not a sociopath and you haven't had your humanity destroyed, then you know that you have heard Veritas, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Now, why am I so excited today? I woke up at 6 a.m. to see Paul Watson publish this article. Copy Rush Limbaugh, popping the paper. I always love that. That's why I do it. I mean, absolutely. What is the good news here, ladies and gentlemen? Some got warning to avoid Westgate before bloody siege. That's in Kenya, folks, in Nairobi. And it turns out, we're going to get into this after the break, it turns out that indeed there was the warning, and it turns out that it appears that it was staged by elements in the government, as usual, working with the White House, who we know runs that very Islamicist group and is funding them on record. We have Dr. Corsi on the broadcast, and that they did this as a political diversion. Bare minimum, they let the jihadis in. I'm going to get into that. And let me give you the rest of the story. And again, here's the great news. Everything's coming out now. The ATF blew the whistle. Just as they did on Fast and Furious. As evil as the agency is, they're not all bad. Even though they've bought into a fraud and that's the job they have, they blew the whistle on that. They blew the whistle on not being allowed in to investigate the highly suspicious shooting a few weeks ago, as you know, a week and a half ago, 2 Mondays ago to be technical, 9-10 days ago. I obsess on factoids. The point is, they were told they can't get in to look at it, even though it's their jurisdiction. And the SWAT team that happened to be rolling by from training, fully armed and loaded, I've now talked to them. I'll just leave it at that. And you've seen them in the BBC, but specifically, it wasn't like the BBC said there was a 4-man team. That was all that was left at the Capitol because it wasn't in session. There was a 20-man team driving back to the Capitol a mile. That's why they were there in 5 minutes. Loaded, still in their gear, rolling by. I mean, just a mile away back to the Capitol, and they were there. And because the police were calling, they said, come in, come in. They were designated to respond, and then they were told by base commanders from the Pentagon down through the Navy, stand down. And it turns out, of course, that's coming out of you-know-where. So they have a total cover-up going there. And you notice the ATF blew the whistle. You notice the SWAT team blew the whistle. That's on record. You think the SWAT team would have done that 10 years ago? They are physically sick, is the words, and feel dirty, and that's why they went public. They know, folks. It's the whole thing staged. Putting out that ridiculous video looks like a drill to me. Who knows what really happened out there? Very suspicious. Bare minimum, they let him do it. Okay, the day after Obama announces a new anti-gun push. They're trying to get our guns because of Major Hassan they protected for 2 years and declared national security on out at Fort Hood. Boom. They let him do it. Bare minimum. Boom. Bare minimum. Caught. In the news. Fact. And now Seymour Hersh comes out, 2-time Pulitzer Prize winner, and says from his intel, the bin Laden story is 100% fake, a, quote, total lie. Not one word of it is true. Pathetic. You like those quotes? What's happening here is humanity is turning against the enemy. Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't it be
and it burns.
Again, I use the analogy of space aliens attacking our planet, not in a literal way, obviously, before the media grabs that. But I liken psychopaths and control freaks that try to dumb down the population, that see us as animals, as basically another species. And if you research that the elite believe they're another species, just type that in, that's in all their literature for about 150 actually 160 years, since the 1850s, with Francis Galton and many others. And that's where social Darwinism comes from, that they're doing us a favor, hurting us and killing us and poisoning us and dumbing us down. And even though this sounds crazy, history's crazy. Look at all the other stuff governments have done. Look at all the torture and boiling people in oil and crucifying 10,000 in a single day and lining the entire, road from Rome all the way to the coastline, and the Aztecs sacrificing tens of thousands a day on certain holidays, and the Druids and Japanese samurais would test out a new sword on a villager that didn't bow far enough. I mean, elites are always about exercising raw power and killing and humiliating the general public. You've got the general average person that just wants to be told what to do and just wants to live their life as kind of like a cow or something. Okay? And then you've got people that see them as cattle and hate them and have disdain over them and dominate them. And people that want to be cattle grovel when they're treated like that. But then you've got those of us that want to see humanity built up and want to expand the understanding and awakening of humanity, and who are on humanity's team. We are the people that change history every time and fight back against the tyrants, and many times are defeated, but many times succeed. And we're at that historic crossroads right now, times 1,000. This is it. And all the news coming out where across the board now, when there's an underwear bomber, we have whistleblowers on a week after Kurt Haskell, his wife as well, both lawyers, who saw the government get him on the plane and learned that it was the CIA. That came out in Congress months after we broke it, that the CIA ordered him without any forms of proper ID, without a visa, without things like that, to get him on the plane to the U.S. And he was drugged up with a firecracker in his pants, with a controller on board with a remote control to detonate it. They even had a guy sitting there the hour before with a camera on Muttalib, videotaping the entire thing in case they wanted to use that for promotional fear-mongering. 1 week before they rolled out all the naked body scanners that they claimed they ordered because of that, which they'd actually put orders in a year plus before. I mean, this was a public rollout advertising campaign. They don't even hide it. We had the whistleblower on that instantly. And I just started coming to the realization, every time now we have whistleblowers, every time we have witnesses that turn out to be accurate, now we have the federal SWAT teams going public to the BBC. But then I was contacted and given the full scoop because BBC didn't go with it. By the way, the SWAT team contacted, well, the NSA knows. What are you going to do, prosecute them for being told to stand down? They don't care. They're sick of it. I'm told they contacted 50-plus outlets trying to get it out. Turns out it had been in our box, and I just hadn't seen it, and they were scanning through and found it, then we made contact. Because they were like, default, their job was to go in. They happened to be right by it when it happened. They were told to stand down. Boom, they went public. That's their duty, not just their their right, their duty, because you become complicit. That's what they said. We are already complicit. We're thinking we should have just ignored the order. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got somebody in there killing people. You're told to stand down. You're trained all day to go in and kill them. Kill them. Stop following illegal orders. But the first step is blowing the whistle. The first step is blowing the whistle, ladies and gentlemen. And the first step is not following illegal orders, criminal orders. And now we have whistleblowers coming out from the police force in Nairobi, Kenya, that people were told not to go in that day, and there was some type of weird stuff going on. And thank God there was a Royal Marine in there that was packing his gun illegally and helped run them off because they thought, hey, we're safe, come in and kill whoever we want. The government is part Al-Qaeda in Kenya now because of Odinga, Obama's cousin, on record. Now, 6 years ago, getting into prime ministership, which they created for him. They only had a president before. And then he brought in out of Somalia hundreds and hundreds of thousands of radicals, folks. Somalia. That's the new globalist invasion force to take over Kenya. The Muslim extremists are the secret army of the New World Order. You've heard Dr. Jerome Corsi break it down. It's a fact, folks. You understand that? They're using them to take over Egypt, Libya, Syria, Iraq, over and over and over and over again. They're using them as commandos to attack Iran for the last 7 years, inside the country, run by our criminal government.
We're on the march.
We're back. Jesse Ventura is going to be joining us, doing the first interview before he kicks off his book tour on television and radio next week. He's giving us the first interview, scheduled to be coming on. I haven't talked to him in weeks, so have we reminded him to come on? Fantastic. So he's going to be on with us in the next hour, breaking down his new book that we're also selling, Jesse Ventura with Dick Russell and David Wayne. They Killed Our President. What a great name and what a great book to wake up the general public out there to what really happened, because this is when the shadow government really had its coup d'etat. 63 Reasons to Believe There Was a Conspiracy to Assassinate JFK, his newest book. It is an amazing book full of graphics and photos and documents and so much more. Really, the documents are what are so important. So I hope that everyone will get the book at InfowarsStore.com. It officially goes on sale Monday, but you can start ordering it now at InfowarsStore.com. And what we do is we promote information that's important to wake people up, to also fund ourselves. That's what we do. We promote things we believe in, things that we think are informative, products that we have researched and know are awesome and helpful to then fund our operation, unlike MSNBC that gets stimulus money and all the other so-called mainstream media like NPR and others that are government funded, forcing you to give them money, taking old ladies' houses so NPR can sit up there and promote abortion and anti-gun globalism and UN small arms treaties that Kerry signed, despite the Senate warning him. That is just some of the things that we see going on out there. So it's so incredibly important to go to InfowarsStore.com for the books, the videos, the T-shirts, all of it. And now, InfowarsLife.com. It's also at InfowarsStore.com. We have the first long line of products that we're developing that are the staples of health and wellness out there, but supercharged. Survival Shield, InfowarsLife.com, Nascent Iodine Dietary Supplement, Atomic Iodine, the clean, pure form out of the earth that's absorbed directly in. Not the stuff that'll poison you. You know, they sell at the store to put on cuts and things. It's certainly useful to kill germs and things, just like colloidal silver. The point is, this is the nascent iodine that is extremely hard to get, extremely expensive. You've got to jump through DEA hoops to get it. I mean, it is like an act of Congress to develop this stuff. We've spent, I don't know, 3-4 months just getting this prepared and developed and in the FDA certified accredited facility in Utah. And I got quite a bit of it, and it's going to sell out currently in about 2 days. And it'll be a few weeks till we get more. It'll be back ordered. Double strength, half price compared to the leading competitor, and nobody else has it in this proprietary blend. The way it is prepared, it is extremely powerful and, of course, protects the thyroid, does so much more for the body. And your purchase supports the broadcast, and it's $29.90 That's about $30 less than leading competitor at InfowarsLife.com. Or you can simply go to InfowarsStore.com, and it's right there on the front page. So it's a win-win-win. In fact, I'm going to take, where did my bottle go? Oh, here it is, the one I had yesterday. I'm going to take mine. I take 2 dropperfuls a day. That's what's recommended. Dr. Group, who helped develop it, says that he takes a lot more, but consult your physician before you do that. And this stuff is a supercharger. Because you see, your thyroid's what puts out a lot of your hormones or regulates the release of hormones. So you got all these guys out there taking steroids and women taking hormones and all this stuff, when, according to all the medical doctors and others I've talked to, you start getting nascent iodine that nobody even knows about, and all the right minerals and nutrients and vitamin E and things, and you're just turbocharged. InfowarsLife.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. And I have just put in an order to produce a whole bunch more, but that takes a few weeks. And again, at any time, if there's a bigger nuclear disaster or something, everybody rushes out, you know, all the medical type iodine that you can take just disappears. And so I would suggest that everybody stock up on this today, InfowarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. Okay, here is the toll-free number to join us. I want to get your take on the fact that on every case now, the Kenyan government blows the whistle that they were pre-warned and it looks suspicious. Elements of it, the SWAT team, the ATF blows the whistle. Not just the D.C. SWAT team, the federal Capitol SWAT team, but the ATF blows the whistle and says, we're mad, we've been told we can't go in when it's our jurisdiction. You've got Seymour Hersh coming out and saying the whole bin Laden raid's totally fake. That's up on Infowars.com. I mean, this is just wild. Yeah, there's the article up on Drudge from The Guardian. Seymour Hersh, Obama, NSA, and the pathetic American media. And then below it, Infowars.com, bin Laden raid, one big lie. And see, Drudge is really smart, and his crew's really smart the way they do things. I'm trying to learn from them. Because they know that a mainstream news article like The Guardian will have buried in it that Hersh is saying it's totally fake. That's buried in the article about Seymour Hersh on Obama, NSA, and the pathetic American media. Obviously, the bombshell news is that Cy Hersh, from his sources, is saying it's total baloney. I mean, that's huge. Cy Hersh says that the raid's all fake. Of course, we know it's fake. The whole thing's a lie. I've talked to the Navy SEALs. I mean, thank God this is coming out. I'll tell you why I'm so happy. I just psychoanalyze myself. You know how scary it was when I talked to this Navy SEAL who was a full-grown man, been in the Navy SEALs for many years, tough guy, you know, probably beat up 10 of me just from all the combat they've been in the focus, was scared telling me this. Scared. I mean, shaking and you know, you could see not a tear of fear, a tear of adrenaline, telling me this information a week after it happened. And I left. I had to pull over at Cabela's, of all places, because I was going to see family. And I had to shoot a video right then, and I shot a video in the parking lot of Cabela's in my Charger, Dodge Charger, about the info I had. And I wasn't even at liberty then to say I'd been told this. Later, I was told, okay, you can say you heard it from a Navy SEAL. And then, of course, you saw it all come out. I mean, the reason I'm happy that more people are talking about this is because, folks, it's dangerous to be the only people that know this stuff. And to see these criminals get away with this stuff is very upsetting when you know it's as phony as a $3 bill from one end to the other. And the Navy SEALs know it's fake. Day one, because I know how they run these operations, toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Day one, we went and shot a video. I mean, it was a Sunday night or whatever. He announced it, and in the Monday morning, if memory serves, I came in, did reports. You know, those videos have millions of views online. And we said, look, the Situation Room photo looks completely fake. It's clearly staged. They probably sent the SEALs in for a look-alike they had set up. And then they probably had another team there that actually killed some of the people. And then that's probably why they blew up the helicopter, was to create confusion and try to get rid of the SEAL team that was actually loading bin Laden, or who they thought was bin Laden, on the helicopter. And then basically that's what came out. And I just don't understand how these people operate, but I've just watched them so long. And then it turned out they had like a record number of court-martials. It was some outrageous, like 70-plus people in the first wave on the ship, because they were all witnesses that there was no body thrown in the ocean. There was no ceremony. It was all bull. That later came out. That's why they were targeted. And now they've gone public, and it's been in the news that no one saw the burial. It didn't happen. The Situation Room photo was fake. There wasn't a live feed. It was all staged. And I told the Navy SEALs at the time, I said, if they blew up this helicopter to cover up the evidence, when they loaded the body on and got some of the guys on the stealth helicopter, and reportedly it didn't take them out like they wanted. They rolled out and got on the ground. That's why there was a big freak out. There was survivors, so that then got back to the rest of SEAL Team 6, so they had to load them all up on a helicopter and go blow it up. And that's when, well, 1 week after I had a source in the Navy SEALs, to be technical, that said the whole thing's very suspicious, we're told it's pure bull. Then a month later or whatever it was, the helicopter blew up and they killed 23 of them, as well as other personnel. That's when I was able to meet with someone, and I'll just leave it at that, who told me, well, first I was able to meet with their father, and then I was able to meet with them. And it's so drilled into these people to never talk about what they know that it's almost like mind control programming for them to speak out. That's why Tosh Plumlee on the show a few days ago, that guy's a famous whistleblower, but still works for the CIA because there's a white side, dark side of it, as they call it. Telling you he talked to a NATO high-level official who said, no, the U.S. was shipping the guns into Libya, not just giving him Gaddafi French-made anti-aircraft missiles and anti-tank missiles and Chinese anti-tank Red Arrows. That was happening too. They were giving them, quote, high-impact weapons. Armor-piercing, really serious stuff that'll take out Abrams tanks all day, that'll blow helicopters and jets out of the sky. I was talking to him off air. He just said, I've signed agreements, but he goes, look, man, I'm on the runway getting ready to take off. At a military base, and there was times on air you could hear the C-130s and stuff. They were being loaded up with weapons. He's in the lead aircraft. He's flying the weapons over there, folks. He's sitting here watching them delivered into warehouses to jihadis, is basically the info. And he said, look, let me just tell you this, read between the lines. So I'm not letting something out that was given to me in confidence. That's how they give you this info. And Jim Mars wasn't even talking on the show and was shaking last week when I talked to him before this. He said, but of course, no one even cares. It's not even a big issue. It's all just hidden in plain view. But you'll hear about it later down the road. Jim Mars wanted me to get this on air because he's known Tosh since the 70s with the Frank Church hearings in Congress, where MK Ultra and all the stuff came out. Gulf of Tonkin first started coming out there. I mean, just everything came out. We almost cleaned the government up then. That was right after Nixon and all that, you know, when America was ready to start waking up. And Mars is like, listen, you got to get him on quick for our safety. I mean, that was the real reason. He's telling me all this. This is dangerous. Can you get us on, you know, today? I guess that was Friday morning. And by the time I called him, he couldn't get Tosh on. And then we talked over the weekend, and then my phone got wiped because my mom thought it was hers, was putting her code in it at the beach with the kids. And then I finally got back with him Monday, got him on Tuesday. But, and they're in contact. Fox News is in contact with them. But the point here is that this is really dangerous. So that's why I'm psychoanalyzing myself, why I get so excited when Seymour Hersh comes out and says the bin Laden raid was fake. And when the elements of the Kenyan government come out and say, you know, we knew there was prior knowledge, and the SWAT team comes out and says we were ordered to stand down in D.C., and the ATF comes out and basically says there's a cover-up, and it's everything the criminals do now is coming out because people now understand how much danger we're all in. The danger is not in fighting these people. There's a danger there. But it's a lot less than letting them run everything. I've told you this 1,000 times. This New World Order is not like Boss Hogg that's eating, you know, hamburgers and barbecue in his back office and skimming off the top, and, you know, Flash is sitting there on the leather couch farting. And Roscoe Pico trains, you know, out there with a fake radar gun that's really a hairdryer. This isn't just average corruption. This is cancer, ladies and gentlemen, and we're not going to survive it. Our prosperity, our posterity, all of us, our entire future is degenerating and going down the rat hole if we don't slow things down and then reverse them. And we have slowed things down. Brzezinski admits that. Hillary admits that at CFR meetings. They're scared, and they should be. They're legendary tyrants, and just like Hitler and Mussolini and so many others, they think they're invincible. They think they're above the law. They think they'll never get caught. They think they'll never get stopped. But sooner or later, you're going to get cut down politically. You can run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. You can hide in the dark. You can hide your hand working against your fellow man. You can be a midnight rider, but you will get burnt. Let's go to some phone calls. Let's talk to Leonard in Montana. You're on the air. Go ahead. Let's bring Leonard in Montana up. Leonard, I can't hear you. Go ahead, buddy. All right, yeah, go ahead, sir.
Can you hear me now, Alex?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
All right, excellent. No king but King Jesus, Alex. No king but King Jesus. Also, I wanted to say, Alex, that, it's very convenient that now we get a picture of this Navy Yard shooter, but yet we still can't get a picture of Adam Lanza supposedly in Sandy Hook. This whole thing is faked. Everything is being staged, all of it.
Yeah, they're saying they don't want to release what drugs he was on because people might not take their SSRIs. We know he was on 3. His family's gone public. Friends and family have said he was on a bunch of stuff. They knew of 3 drugs he'd been on, put it to you that way. That came out right after it happened, a few weeks after. And, yeah, there was a drill. There was the local SWAT team from the jurisdiction over, a federal task force, local group. And the whole thing does look staged. What type of stage, we don't know. Boston bombing, totally staged. And it's all blowing up in their face. I mean, it's all blowing up in their face. But, yeah, the whole Navy Yard thing is very suspicious. Now they're going to release the 911 tapes. I guess it's taken them 9 months to produce that. So there you go.
Well, listen, it matches their agenda, Alex. It only stands to reason that if they wanted to outlaw AR-15 or M4 variant rifles, that they would show a picture of this crazed lunatic in a school, not necessarily showing the kids getting shot or anything, but just showing them with this type of gun. It matches their agenda, yet they don't have the photo. They will not show it.
Well, that's because they probably shot Lanza in the back of the head and had a contractor kill the kids. And then they had actors, clearly some of them are being actors, come out and push the agenda. But there were real people dying. We're back live. Jesse Ventura's coming up. Let's get Jesse Ventura on at 8 after, just so that he doesn't get interrupted. I want to start him in a big segment, call him at about 3 after. We got Jesse Ventura coming on to get his take on the world and his new book. But former Minnesota governor Jesse Ventura is joining us in the next hour. Let's go to Catherine in Canada. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hi, Alex.
Hey.
Nice to talk to you.
Thank you for calling.
Thanks. I'm just wondering if you've seen the press conference this morning with the newly elected Iranian president. It was in New York City.
I am aware that he was going to give a press conference and then reportedly meet with Obama soon. But no, I didn't follow it. In fact, I should be following it. It's in my stack. What happened?
Well, there was a press conference, and one of the, I think it was CNN journalists, asked him what he thinks about the whole, West and East and everything else. And he said the only way to help Syria is to get the terrorists, and he actually said the word Al-Qaeda in the West to stop helping Al-Qaeda and get them all out of there so the coalition can have talks with the government. Oh, yeah, no, it's been in the foreign press, Der Spiegel, London Guardian, for 2.5 years that our government with NATO has been putting Al-Qaeda in there, and the Saudis have been paying for it. And remember, 2 years ago, the media would say we were conspiracy terrorists. Now it's all admitted. Again, their big lie doesn't work anymore, and I didn't know that. But guys, search just search Iranian president. It'll be the top story. I mean, I know he was scheduled to give a press conference, and I saw it in my stack, but I didn't follow that. I should have. And, they're calling for peace with the U.S., and I'm not saying the mullahs are great. I don't agree with a lot of stuff they do, but I'd like to see everybody try to move towards détente and not have a nuclear war. And, yes, that is the party line of the Iranians, is to point out that it is Wahhabist, Al-Qaeda, Saudi Arabian, Qatari terrorists
that started the civil war in Syria, and it is a war crime that our government has been involved in it, and I want our country to repudiate it so it's not on us. If we repudiate it and do the right thing, the world will love us again. But instead, they think we're so dumb, our government's funding al-Qaeda while taking our rights because of the threat of al-Qaeda.
And that's pretty much what the Iranian president said, straight up, al-Qaeda. He's like, we need to get the terrorists out so we can actually start talking and making some peace.
God bless you, ma'am. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, we have the article. We're going to be getting to that coming up the next hour. I'll bring that up to Jesse Ventura. Let's go ahead and talk to Bob in California. Bob, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, thank you for everything. I want to tell you about the university that I am attending. It's called Infowars University. Now, I live in L.A., and I attend classes from 9 a.m. to noon every day. I'm getting a great political science, sociology.
Okay, so you're not in Canada. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. You're in California. I apologize. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I still attend it. I still attend your university on, 9 to noon every day. I love Professors Salente and Jesse Ventura. I'm so excited about that. And I just want to thank you because you're giving me such a great education. I attended San Diego State, 40 years ago, and what I get in 2 days is worth 4 years of what I got there. It's unbelievable.
Well, we're all in it together. All of us are the teachers and the students, and the teacher appears when the student is ready. But that's who we bring you, as scientists and top international lawyers and former governors and congress people and artists and actors and school teachers and heroes and common folks and activists. And that's what we are. We are humanity. And we are standing up. We are resisting. We are rising. Former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura is going to be joining us in a few minutes. We're going to call him in a moment and get his take on everything that's happening in the world. Boehner has warned of Obama's abortion slush fund and secrecy clause. We're going to be getting into that. Today, 72 congressional members sent a letter to House Speaker John Boehner urging him to insert language ending abortion funding and religious discrimination in Obamacare and any funding or debt ceiling legislation. Yeah, they're making churches pay for abortions, folks. I mean, this is unbelievable. Talk about getting involved in religion. The Obama administration has committed unprecedented attacks against the unborn and the religious freedom guaranteed in the Constitution, all under the guise of access to health care, the letter tells Boehner. So we're going to be getting more into that news. We're also going to be getting into the top stories with Jesse Ventura. Seymour Hersh says bin Laden raid one big lie. That's up on drudgereport.com. Right on the right-hand side, red linked up at drudgereport.com. And then here's another one that's up at drudgereport.com, out of the London Independent, also Infowars.com reporting it. Some got warning to avoid Westgate Nairobi Mall before bloody siege. And then continuing, here's the London Independent article. Kenyan shopping mall attack. Nairobi hostages were tortured before they were killed, says police doctor. And it turns out, again, this is a very al-Qaeda group that's being funded through Kenya that we talked about a month ago that's helping fund al-Qaeda groups in Syria, Libya, and, of course, Egypt as they try to destabilize the world. Simply amazing. And then they just play us off against each other left and right to fight with each other. Now, coming up with Jesse Ventura, we're also going to talk about his new book, They Killed Our President, 63 Reasons to Believe There Was a Conspiracy to Assassinate JKF. Very powerful book with all the latest information in it. And we're selling that, by the way, at InfoWarsStore.com, but it goes on sale nationwide next Monday is the official kickoff. And Jesse Ventura is going to be doing, obviously, TV and radio appearances, but he's going to be coming on with us first after this break that is coming up. Continuing with some of the news that's up on Infowars.com and prisonplanet.com, Ron Paul promotes volunteerism, that means terrorism, to the collectivist. On Jay Leno, Again, Seymour Hersh, bin Laden raid, one big lie. Government is a suicide bomber. Article by Kurt Nimmo. The U.S. government is the largest and most lethal terrorist organization in the world. Yeah, because it's not even the U.S. government. It's the globalist government. Some got warning to avoid Westgate before bloody siege. Big news. We're going to be asking Governor Ventura about that and his take on all these mysterious shootings where all these whistleblowers are coming out and saying it's staged. And also, doctor reveals Fukushima radiation nightmare solution that the mainstream media is not telling folks about. That's up on Infowars.com. Government targets private bank accounts, seizes funds of innocent Americans without charge or trial. That tyranny is accelerating, not just in Europe in places like Cyprus, but into other areas of Europe and now in the U.S., just like John Corzine of MF Global was caught grabbing people's private brokerage accounts. This is getting really scary. And that's what always happens in one of these collapse scenarios is they go after bank accounts, stocks, bonds, you name it, and then folks that lose everything go and jump out windows because I guess all they had was the identity of the wealth they had. I mean, I would hate to lose the security I've got, the little bit of money I've got, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. I certainly wouldn't go jump out of a window over it. But we are moving more and more towards that situation. And a new poll out shows record number of Americans are sick of war. Remember the poll out of Reuters 2 weeks ago? 91% against striking Syria. All right, we're going to get Jesse Ventura's take, former Minnesota governor's take, and best-selling author's take on all the things I just mentioned and more, and talk about his new book, They Killed Our President. What an amazing title. I'm Alex Jones with Infowars.com. The news sites are prisonplanet.com. We're into hour number 2 on this live Friday edition. Don't forget, I'll be back this Sunday live, 4 to 6 p.m. with the Sunday news update, 4 to 6 p.m. Central. The news websites are Infowars.com, prisonplanet.com, and prisonplanet.tv. Well, I'm honored to have him. We're going to cover the waterfront in the next hour. Former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura, multi-time, #1 New York Times bestseller. And he's giving us the premiere interview here today. His book tour, TV tour, starts next week, a limited tour on national TV and radio. But he said he'd give me the first interview, and we're very honored to have him, and I count him as a friend. And the reason I admire Jesse Ventura, even though I don't agree with him 100%, he doesn't agree with me 100%, is that he's a real guy. And being genuine nowadays is getting so rare. And so I count myself very lucky to know Jesse Ventura. I want to get into the book with him. I want to get his take on, will he run for president? Would he go VP under Rand, or would he want to run as the top of the ticket? I'm going to throw out some wild cards here. We're going to get into the lawsuit. He's got some news on that. He says he won't say much, but he's very, very pleased. We'll just leave it at that. We'll talk about that at the bottom of the hour. We'll get into openly backing al-Qaeda and false flags and where he thinks the world's going right now with Jesse Ventura. But first off, it goes on sale next week officially in bookstores. You can order it off Amazon, pre-order it. We hope you get it at InfoWarsStore.com, so you support the broadcast and what the governor's doing. But I read this book. I couldn't put it down because it's got so much new info, plus all the rock bottom info. They Killed Our President. That's the title. And Jesse Ventura with Dick Russell and David Wayne, who co-wrote it. Jesse Ventura joins us. Governor, good to hear your voice again.
Good to be on, Alex. Nice to hear you. It's been since spring, and I've gotten in, I think, about 50 rounds of golf since the last time we talked.
Oh, good. So you've gotten in 50 rounds of golf. Wow.
I like to golf, Alex.
Hey, I would golf if I was better at it.
I don't care. When you get my age, I'm 62 now. It's the only damn sport you can do anymore.
And who have you been rooting for?
On what, golf?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I root against all the guys that use the long putters. I'll put it to you that way, because that's an illegal club. The rules of golf say you must swing it. Well, that's anchored. So I always root against. They're nice people, don't get me wrong, but I just always root for the conventional people who putt the old way.
What is your handicap on a standard course?
I'm about a 15 or 16. I'll shoot in the mid to upper 80s if I'm playing pretty good, and if I go into the 90s, I'm not playing so good.
Yeah, I want to take up golf again because I grew up on a golf course and my dad was always pretty good, but I just haven't had time. And now I go out to the golf course with friends and it is embarrassing. But I guess that's part of a sport.
It's like anything you do in the world. You must practice. If you're going to shoot pool, you got to shoot pool. If you're going to play ping pong, you got to practice. Anything you do requires practice to be good at it.
I heard you've gotten pretty good at surfing.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Not in comparison to the guys out there in the world. I'm not pretty good.
Oh, by the way,
amateur.
I forgot to tell you this last time I talked. Dave Mustaine and Willie Nelson and us went out to dinner. We just happened to run into Willie Nelson and then went out to dinner with him. Willie Nelson said, the first thing he said is, how's the governor? So he wanted me to say hi to you.
Oh, absolutely. Give Willie my best. There's another true American who's come up through, working the honky-tonks all the way to superstardom, and I don't think it's ever gotten to his head.
Well, you know why I don't think it did? I mean, he comes from just right here in Texas and reminds me a lot of my dad, kind of the same cloth, but he didn't get big and literally, had to sell famous songs for like $50. Some of the most famous country songs out there to buy baby diapers, as he said. He didn't really become successful till he was about 50.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Willie and I, when we spent the day together, had so much fun talking about his early music career compared to my early wrestling career. And it's amazing, all the tie-ins of the same type of feelings and the same. I mean, I remember wrestling once where I had to drive 620-mile round trip, right? 310 each way. And I paid for my own gas, and I ate dinner at the A&W, and at the end of the night, I got a $30 payoff, and it cost me $28. So I made $2, and I worked for over 16 hours, counting the driving.
By the way, I'm glad you brought that up. We had Rowdy Roddy Piper on, and he had a lot of good things to say about you. It's the 25th anniversary of the hit movie They Live.
Sure.
And the last time I saw you guys together was in Major League 2, wasn't it?
No, Roddy and I did a pilot together that got bought up and then canceled at the last moment. I forget, I can't even remember.
Sure, but I'm saying the last time I saw you guys together on the big screen.
I don't know when it would have been.
You did like a mock trailer, and I think it was in Major League 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that didn't have nothing to do with Roddy. Roddy wasn't in that.
Okay, one of the...
I was with all my reps on that.
That's right. You know how it is. Everything just mixes together over time.
I'm old, Alex, and I'm a lot older than you.
Well, you corrected me, though. Shifting gears into more serious subjects.
Let's get to the book.
Yeah, let's talk about the book. And first off, the fact that they say 50 years later, no one's allowed to be in that area of downtown unless you're invited and believe the official story. What is this, North Korea?
Well, it's ridiculous. It's, again, I've come to determine, Alex, it's this simple. Someone could produce a film today of somebody shooting from the grassy knoll, and mainstream media wouldn't cover it, because I saw that completely when I went to Chicago and I met Judith Barry Baker, who was Lee Harvey Oswald's mistress in New Orleans, his lover. Oswald was separated from Marina, and Judith, who has some of the most explosive stuff. The fact that Jack Ruby knew Lee Harvey Oswald since Oswald was a child. The guy who killed him knew him.
Wow.
Knew him well. She went to dinner with them on multiple occasions. She knew him as Sparky Rubenstein, his real name. And he shortened it to Jack Ruby later. And we went, imagine Jesse Ventura, governor of Minnesota, and her calling a press conference in Chicago, and one camera showed up.
That shows that people know to keep their mouths shut. Normally, you have a press conference, there'd be 20 cameras there.
It shows you also that mainstream media, and this is what it gets down to, they've been bamboozling us for 50 years on this. They're not about to now show something that shows they've deceived and lied to us. So they're going to continue with the Oswald story and all the rest of us. They're going to marginalize us. I'm noticing already on this press tour, I'm not getting much mainstream media in the book, with this book. Very much less limited. Fox News, of course, won't have me on at all.
Sure, so you're saying the stuff you've got lined up for next week that you're seeing a lot less. I mean, you would think with the 50th anniversary, you get even more coverage.
Yeah, no, nothing on like Good Morning America, nothing on the networks, nothing on MSNBC. I'll be on Piers, I'll be on Howard Stern. Only the people with some courage, you know, who are willing to go out there and seek the truth. But as far as the rest of the mainstream media, again, when I was with Judith Baker, who could have told them that Oswald and Ruby knew each other intimately, you know, it wasn't just some passing high. I met the guy once. And that's a dynamite. That's a bombshell. That changes the whole thing. That the murderer of Oswald knew him, and yet the media could care less about it.
Well, it's on record. I've talked to Jim Mars, who has been around so long. He used to go to that topless bar right out of college and knew Jack Ruby and knew all those people, and it was known that Oswald hung out there constantly.
Well, he wasn't constantly there, but he was involved with them enough that it would be the type where a lot of people knew him. Heck, we show in the book where there were four of the strippers, four of the dancers positively identified.
No, I mean, according to Mars, yeah, but according to Mars, Oswald was in there. I mean, that was
sure he was in there on many, not a lot, but on certainly enough occasions to where people got to know him there. Know who he was.
Well, according to Mars, that was one of the meetup places to do business and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Jim's very knowledgeable. Again, I quote him in this book. You know, we had the good fortune doing this book to have all these resources at our disposal, which we used, and we put them in a great order of 63 reasons. And when you read, we lead the book off with the Katzenbach memo, and people need to understand this, Alex. Two conspiracies took place. The first conspiracy was that of the actual murder of our president, and the second conspiracy was the cover-up of it. And some people are in both, some people are only in one. You know, and I decided to lead the book off with the Katzenbach memo, Nicholas Katzenbach. He was the acting attorney general on Monday morning. Now, bear in mind, the president got killed on Friday. Oswald got killed on Sunday. This is Monday morning. We have this isn't me making this up. This is the memo from the acting attorney general, because naturally Bobby wasn't there. His brother had just been killed. He's not going to go to work Monday. And a memo from his deputy in charge to Lyndon Johnson through his proper channels stating that we must convince the public that Oswald had nobody working with him, that he was completely alone, and nobody else out in the world is loose right now that was part of this, and the fact that we must convince the public that if there would have been a trial, he would have been convicted. And then it goes on to even more stuff. I mean, what more of a smoking gun do you need? That's the whole thing. Oh, and then it goes on to say you need to form a commission of top integrity people and we can't allow any type of congressional or any other investigations to take place.
Sure, but later they failed, and they did have a congressional committee, and what they found, 99% chance it was a conspiracy?
Yeah, in 1976, the House Select Committee, and this is another thing people fail to realize, the government's last view of the murder of John F. Kennedy and its last response was that it was highly probable that there was a conspiracy. They wouldn't say unequivocally there was, but they said most probable. And then they turn it over to the Justice Department, and what happens to it? Nothing.
Well, let me tell you a brief story, and this is on YouTube. I did the interview now it's about 5-6 years ago. George Norrie came to town. We put on a big event. Thousands came out for 5:90 a.m., our local affiliate, KLBJ, the namesake of the president. He actually used to own it. And this distinguished older gentleman comes up with his distinguished son, who was older, and said, I'm Mr. Grody. I own the funeral home, and I want to tell you, Alex, I came here because you're here. I was up there, signing stuff. He said, I'd like to do an interview. I've decided I'm pretty old, but he was still very sharp. He said, I only owned one funeral home then. And he said the FBI came in with Lee Harvey Oswald, put ink on his hand, and then put it on the rifle in front of me, and then told me, shut up. And then when they buried him there, they came back a week later, dug it up, and basically ran off with the body. And he came there in the morning, and it was all dug up and gone. And then I said to him and he and his son, I said, all right, well, next week I'll come out to your home. And it was up there in the hills overlooking, you know, big mansion. As it turned out, they own one of the biggest funeral home chains in Texas. Ended up being a very successful. And I'm driving, and they're not there. And I later learned, on the way to meet us at their house, a big truck came in and ran them off the road into the ditch and almost killed them, Jesse.
No kidding.
No, that's a true story.
Really?
Yep.
Well, you know, we cover that portion in the book because, you know, initially when the weapon was sent off to the FBI and then it came back, there were no prints on it at all could be found. And then lo and behold, and then we do talk about that guy because, you know, he did go public, and it's in my book also, that he verified that Oswald's hand had what do you call it, all over it after they left.
Yeah, they didn't just, because he broke it to me, and he's the guy. He said they didn't just take his hand and get it to put it on there. They put the prints on with ink, he said.
Right.
And it's just amazing. And Jesse, imagine this, and maybe it's a coincidence, but the family said, that's it, we're done, this is very suspicious. And then he was 90, he was like 90 then. I don't even know if he's alive now. I need to find out. Very nice guy, but he was sharp. And he said, I'm ready to tell the truth of what happened. And just you know, a Texan. And then he got ran off the road with his wife, coming to meet me to officially put it on the record.
Wow. Well, you know, they did the same thing to Lee Bowers.
Yep.
Who was the gentleman that was in the tower at the railroad yard that day and saw the suspicious stuff behind the fence. Lee Bowers was later found dead in what allegedly was supposedly a one-car accident. But if you talk to the sheriff doing the report, the official report, actually showed that he too was run off the road.
I know you know probably more about the Kennedy thing than I do because you focus on it more. How many people does Mars and others say died suspiciously after?
Oh, there's a huge amount. We cover the most important. One of the biggest we cover is Dorothy Kilgallen.
Oh, yeah.
Dorothy Kilgallen was the syndicated columnist, big name from New York, who went on a rampage when Kennedy was killed, and she wanted the truth. She didn't buy it. She's actually the only person that did a one-on-one interview with Jack Ruby, and when she came out from that interview, she stated, I'm going to bust the Kennedy assassination wide open. Well, we cover a whole chapter of the book on her, and she went home, she was murdered, and all her transcripts that she had were stolen, and get this, she had been savvy and smart enough to make duplicate copies, and her friend had them. A week later, the friend died, and hers were gone too.
Unbelievable.
We cover that all in this book. This book, I'll tell you, it's a fascinating read for people. People that love to read Tom Clancy and Vince Flynn and all that stuff, they're all good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking. Those guys got great imaginations. They're fantastic writers. But what intrigues me more about going after Kennedy is the people are real. You're not dealing with figments of imagination or anything. You're dealing with real facts that went on. And assembling the jigsaw puzzle is the real challenge, fun part for me about it, is because that's what it's like. It's like a huge jigsaw puzzle thrown on the floor. And you have to take every bit of evidence and start piecing it together till you figure out what the picture is. And then when the picture comes to you, you get some closure because you truly understand that I do not believe Lee Harvey Oswald ever fired a shot.
Well, clearly we know that he was basically CIA sheep-dipped. He was at that secret base in Japan. He was sent to infiltrate the Russians, allowed back in after he supposedly had, you know, joined the Russians. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's hanging out with the white Russian community.
Well, one of the easy reasons you know that it's so is that one of the documents they won't release even today is Lee Harvey Oswald's tax return.
That's right.
And I mean, how can that be national security? Where he made his money, his national security, and how much he made. See, they don't dare release it because if the trail led back to the government, the paper trail of the money of being paid, well, that again changes the whole scenario of what they told us. And you know, to me, there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that the Warren report is completely fraudulent. People need to understand understand. When the government, when you allow them to investigate themselves, that's putting the fox right in the hen house. You know, and I realize it would be difficult. How do you get an independent civilians to investigate the government? But that's what needs to happen, because when they form these commissions, they're just to rubber stamp whatever the government's position is on whatever it might be. And that's all that they do. And yet then the government uses them as the final thing, and then they won't answer any more questions on the subject because the Warren Commission said it, the 9/11 Commission said it, whatever the commission might be that says that this is, and they always come out exactly with the government's original story. That's why they call it the official story, Alex. It's generally used to protect officials.
Well, sure, the old British saying, no, you're right. The old British saying is, don't believe something until it's been officially denied.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so frustrating. Now, we're about to go to break, but I want to briefly ask you this about the general state of the country. You've got 91% in Reuters poll against openly bombing Syria. You've got it mainstream news that Republicans and Democratic leadership have been backing al-Qaeda with NATO to attack Assad. I'm not saying he's an angel, but they've started the war. You've got Seymour Hersh in the London Guardian today. It's up on drudgereport.com. Says bin Laden raid, one big lie, the whole thing's fake. I've had Navy SEAL families now officially on. I actually got them to come on air, and I've talked to others off air, including people that live in Austin. But I've had the families on air. They've been on national news saying they think it's all fake, and they put 23 of them on a helicopter, blew them up. None of it happened. We've got it coming out. The D.C. SWAT team says they were ordered to stand down. They think a cover-up at the Navy base. My point is, everything's coming out now. There was a drill with the Boston bombing. They executed, some of the friends of the Tsarnaev brothers. My point is, Governor, it looks like there's a mass awakening happening compared to what it used to be. What is your take on the state of the public mind right now?
Well, first of all, let me add something that I learned about the Syria situation. This stuff on chemical weapons and the use of them and all that, that's a red herring. That's smoke and mirrors. The real reason that as I understand it from the information I've gotten, is that the oil companies want to run a pipeline through Syria, and Assad's not being cooperative.
Yeah, the Israelis admit that.
They need to overthrow him to get a cooperative government in there that will allow the pipeline to go through. And because always follow the money. I'm a great follower of Major General Smedley Butler. And that's who I really judge when I look at our foreign policy. Then I go to Smedley's work, General Butler's work, and I compare it and say, what do I think Smedley Butler would say about this?
Well said.
And clearly, again, they're not going to show you all wars are conducted so that certain people get...
Stay right there, Governor. We got to go to break. Stay there. I want you to come back with that. We'll be right back. Boy, we were really about to get into the meat and potatoes with Jesse Ventura, and his phone line went down. He's answering, but we don't have audio to him, so just classic stuff here with our phone system. Have you guys thought of the answer to this instead of all this fumbling? I can give you the network number, and John Harmon can call him. That's the way to handle this. Okay, it's not a big deal. So I need you guys, hey guys, instead of that phone system being down, I need you... Okay, but it won't go through our board. So just when that fails, just get the network to call him. Hey, guys, you have the paper. Just call John Harmon and give him the number. It's not a big deal. Fun stuff with phone line stuff, and I'm a director, so I'm always sitting here directing everything here on the worldwide broadcast. Okay, we are back, folks, and we have Jesse Ventura, former Minnesota governor, with us. They killed our president. 63 reasons to believe there was a conspiracy to assassinate JFK. And hopefully it'll become a bestseller because people need to be woken up out there about the coup d'etat that took over our country. Governor, we were starting to get into war before we went to break, and I want to get back into war. But because we're on the subject of JFK with the 50th anniversary coming up, before we get back into war, I want to ask you here today, do you agree with me and others that this is when we really saw the shadow government begin its ongoing coup d'etat? for me, that's why this is historically so important. This is when our country really started to become a tyranny.
I agree completely. I at least in my lifetime, granted, I was only 12 years old when this happened, but I agree, Alex, that it was the murder of John F. Kennedy. It was a coup d'etat. People in this country got to stop being in denial, and they got to start realizing that assassinations of presidents happen all the time through history, and generally they are always conspiracies. There's not one person that does it. And it's ridiculous in this country that every assassination that takes place in this country, it's always a lone nut. And it's always done to a person who stands for peace. John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King, John Lennon. All four of them stood for what? Peace. Ending a war. Great transition into war, isn't it, Alex?
It's a perfect transition into war. You got cut off by the music, so I'd like you to recap and continue where you were going, Governor, with...
Well, wars are fought. I follow the teachings of Major General Smedley Butler, the two-time Congressional Medal of Honor winner. And he makes it very clear that wars are fought because someone's going to profit. Wars are done for profit. Certain people are going to make huge money, and they manipulate everything and force the hands and make these wars happen. They don't just happen because people don't get along. It's orchestrated. And here's what I believe and what I've learned on Syria. The oil companies want to put a pipeline through there, and Assad's not being cooperative. So it's in their best interest to overthrow his government, get in a cooperating government so they can get their pipeline through, and that all this chemical weapons stuff is the smoke and mirrors to get the U.S. people to back in for our military to go in there. I mean, when you look at chemical weapons, I find it astounding, the hypocrisy. What is napalm? Napalm's a chemical weapon that burns you to a crisp in a matter of a second, and we've been using it for 60 years.
That's right.
So how is us using a chemical weapon okay? But and don't get me wrong, I'm not for chemical weapons. I'm not for the weapons at all. How about let's try peace a while? Imagine that silly concept that John Lennon's saying about give peace a chance.
Well, the last time I saw you...
It's not going to happen because we're a country of war brokers here.
That's right.
The power of this country is the power to go to war. That's why we're fighting wars all over the world. And thank goodness, if hopefully these polls are correct, that 90% of us are saying take your war and go to hell with it.
Oh, it's more than that probably. The poll's 91% in Reuters, but Congress people, Republican and Democrats, said they were getting 100, 200, 300, 400 calls to one, depending on which member put out the numbers, against it across the board. I almost had a heart attack when I heard Rush Limbaugh say this looked like a frame job, false flag. The last guy I heard say that on a big forum like that was Jesse Ventura last year on Piers Morgan talking about Syria. You said that I'm looking for a false flag. Do you remember a year ago saying that?
Yeah, because and we're also going to have another false flag locally so that they can clamp us down more here, too. You know, they got to make us safe, don't they?
Exactly. Is that what your gut tells you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, elaborate for new listeners. So we have a lot of new affiliates out there on why every time you get on national TV, you warn of false flags now. Explain to people what a false flag is as a former military man.
Well, what it is, it's not even military. It's truthfully almost political, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's when a country desires to do something, they do an operation called a false flag operation to use propaganda from that to get the people to support going to war or support the position that they want to have happen. Which in the case of, back in the days of the Cuban Missile Crisis in Cuba, they had one of the first that came to light was the Operation Northwoods, which was a false flag operation, and we'll tie it in with Jack Kennedy here. It was a false flag operation where the Pentagon and all the power guys that wanted to go to war actually wanted to stage a false flag where it would make it look like Cuba attacked the United States, which would then get the people of America angry enough that they would then be positive on an invasion of Cuba and a military action against them. It's been the Ruckstag fire in Germany was a false flag operation done by Hitler and the Nazis to get the German people behind a war against the communists. False flag operations go on all the time during our history, and it's like standard operating procedure of how to go to war now. The Gulf of Tonkin incident in Vietnam, another false flag operation where they stated the Vietnamese attacked us. And that's what justified Lyndon Johnson to send ground troops into Vietnam, according to these people. And then later it comes out from McNamara the whole thing was fraudulent.
It's hard to believe how time flies. It was like 7 years ago that I was interviewing you down in San Antonio when you were doing a public speaking and book signing. And it was the first time I'd heard you, really get into going to Harvard, I think it was, and hearing McNamara, who was defense secretary, obviously, in '64, openly admitting it was all fake. Can you bring us back to that point when you heard him for the first time?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to do that. They wouldn't let me go in there.
Sure. But, I mean, you said when you heard him say that.
Well, yeah, McNamara came out in all his public speaking and basically admitted that the Gulf of Tonkin incident was a false flag operation done to change the minds of the Americans. America, if somebody attacks us, we're going to war. We don't even think why. All we need is for anybody to attack the United States of America in any way, shape, or form.
Sure.
And we are going to war.
Sure. Well, I was going back to your anger. I mean, back then you were palpably angry. You said when you first.
Of course, because think about it for a moment, and we'll tie in with Jack Kennedy again. When they murdered Jack Kennedy, that was the license for his first meeting, Lyndon Johnson. When he got back to Washington and met with Kennedy's cabinet, the first topic of conversation of the very first meeting was the Vietnam War, of which we didn't have ground troops there yet.
That's right.
So that was the top priority, was now we've gotten rid of Kennedy, let's go to war. Let's go to war, what Kennedy wasn't going to let us do. And Lyndon Johnson was all for it. So into the Vietnam War. And what angers me about the Gulf of Tonkin incident, 58,000 of my generation were killed over an incident that never actually occurred.
And 1 million Vietnamese.
Oh, yes, probably more than that.
Yeah, that's conservative.
How many Vietnamese died?
Higher estimates are at 1.5 million, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no telling how many poor Vietnamese people died during a war that was all based on a lie. Sounds kind of familiar, like Iraq, too, doesn't it?
Exactly, but here's the good news.
Mass destruction, ties to Al-Qaeda. And don't you love this? Now Al-Qaeda's our ally in Syria.
What do you think they were thinking when 2.5 years ago they started funding Al-Qaeda to attack Syria on selling us to give up our liberties because of Al-Qaeda, while our government now publicly is funding and arming Al-Qaeda? What is going on?
What it tells me is Al-Qaeda had nothing to do with 9/11. How could we be the ally of the very people that allegedly attacked us on 9/11?
It's incredible. Let's go back to false flags here briefly. Again, Governor Jesse Ventura joins us. That's big that you're saying you're concerned about a domestic false flag. I agree with you. The only way they can distract the public from all the NSA scandals and the IRS persecuting the Tea Party and Fast and Furious and all the other scandals is a false flag. They're clearly gearing up for it. They're saying brace for Al-Qaeda to strike us. They're saying give Homeland Security more funding or you'll be attacked. What can we do to try to then stop a false flag?
Boy, I don't know off the top of my head, Alex. The main thing for people to be is vigilant. Don't take this knee-jerk reaction. I mean, look at your mainstream media stories today. When they come out on one of these tragedies, you can't believe anything.
I agree.
Because look at the thing, the stuff that's gone on with look at the shooting that took place in Connecticut. For 10 hours, they told us that the shooter's mom worked at the school. No, she didn't. See, the mainstream media just puts out propaganda to sell, get ratings, and make money. They don't bother to...
Listen, the Boston bombing, Governor. The Boston bombing, they had a drill. It was admitted, and then they said, no, we didn't, and then later had to admit it. Total false flag. They had contractors with black backpacks. They've had a bunch of witnesses have been killed. I mean, it looks like the Kennedy assassination.
Well, and has any of that been reported in mainstream media? No.
No.
No. The only place things like that get reported are on your show and quote-unquote underground or the internet or whatever you want to deem it or label it.
Let me ask you this.
Mainstream media won't cover anything that does not have the government stamp of approval on it. And I think people need to wake up to that and understand that they all have... I mean, look at Bill O'Reilly. I saw videotape from my friend Russ Baker, showed it to me, of Bill O'Reilly on Current Affair demanding an investigation of JFK's murder. This is way back in the 80s when new information had just come to light. O'Reilly's on there demanding that the government open up and investigate and tell us the truth about the murder of Kennedy, and yet today he writes a multi-million-dollar best-selling book, all putting forth the myth that Oswald did it. He didn't really, that wasn't the reason for the book, but it was a book on Kennedy, but the conclusion was, of course, and that's where O'Reilly stands today, that Oswald acted alone. Now, what caused him to change his mind in those 25 years or 20 years? Money.
Well, it shows why the Kennedy assassination is so important to the establishment, because 90+% in major polls, as you know, believe there's a conspiracy and a cover-up. And if that lie falls, it all falls. But the dinosaur media already is a shadow of itself. That's why they want to censor the internet and the free press. And that brings us into the NSA, cybersecurity. We don't get an apology, we get censored. That's why they're scared to have you on the mainstream media now, Governor, because you've been proven right. You said the NSA spying on us. It's all admitted now. You said the WMDs are a lie. It's all admitted now. You said our government's running Al-Qaeda. It's all admitted now. I mean, on so many fronts, we've been proven right. That's why they're scared to have us on now. But they're only making themselves obsolete. So where do you think this is all going?
You know, I can announce to you, I guess, today, Alex, that I'm going to be getting my own internet show.
Good.
So I will be on the internet, and which is a new realm for me now of moving forward and doing that. And considering I'm really computer ignorant when you want to get down to brass tacks, but I do see that the internet is the future. Pretty soon the internet's going to replace mainstream television, I think, within 10 to 15 years.
Oh, yeah, it's already happening. And
yeah, I don't think television will be I'll be the old dinosaur that still has a big screen TV hoping to get the football game on Sunday.
Well, no, you just put your internet on the big screen TV. But, Governor, this is exciting because I hadn't heard this. Are you breaking here now that you're going to start a radio show? That's wonderful.
Oh, no, well, it's not just radio. It's going to be visual, too.
Oh, fantastic. Can you give us any details?
Yeah, in order to, I'll give you this detail. Do you remember, I don't know, Alex, if you're young enough or not, but way back when earlier in my life, they had what they called Radio Free America.
Oh, yes.
Europe, where they broadcast over the Iron Curtain.
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do this show from a foreign country, and I'm going to broadcast it into the United States. That way I might be free of drone surveillance, and I won't get arrested.
That's right. So you're going to broadcast into occupied America, the chair is against the wall.
I'm going to broadcast over the lines back into occupied America and allow them to hear the truth.
That is a genius, absolutely, because that's what it is. I mean, it's not even a gimmick.
I'll be joining. I'm joining a clientele that's marvelous. Wolfman Jack.
That's right.
remember when there was that mystique that the Wolfman was actually broadcasting from a foreign country because they wouldn't allow him here?
Well, what's exciting about this is I guarantee you if you carve it up into vignettes, radio stations will pick it up and TV stations.
Well, it's an exciting thing for me. I'll be working. The boss of my company is an interesting fella. He's from Mexico City, and it'll be fun to work for someone who's not from the United States. See, I can't get a job very good here in the States, so I got to go foreign to get one.
Well, that's because they're scared of you. And speaking of that, would you run on a ticket with somebody like Rand Paul?
I don't know know him well enough. I know his father. I've never met Rand. I know his father, Ron, and, but would I run on a ticket with him? I don't know. I haven't thought of it. I'll find out a lot more on Wednesday when I hit New York with Howard Stern to see if it's Ventura and Stern.
Oh, so there's talk about you running for office with Howard Stern.
Well, I've made that statement. If I did run, I would want Howard as my running mate.
Oh yeah, I've heard that before. That would be wild.
It's not, but it's not a joke. It's for real if I do it.
Oh, I know he's popular on the East Coast. He's very popular all over.
Not just that isn't the reason either. Howard has the most powerful radio show in America, and he wouldn't have to come off the air.
It is powerful. I've been on it and experienced it. It is big.
Well, here's the deal. See, when I ran for governor of Minnesota, I was doing talk radio on Minnesota. I had to lose my job. I had to be suspended without pay and taken off the air because of FCC regulations.
That's right. Violates your First Amendment. Stay there, Governor. Final segment with Jesse Ventura. Man, the time went quick. We'll talk about the lawsuit and politics straight ahead. Stay with us.
245.
All right, final segment with Jesse Ventura. And he was dropping bombshells on me during the break about Howard Stern. They're serious about running for president. We're going to talk about this in just a moment. You'll find out more coming up next Wednesday when he goes on Howard's show. But the issue here, and I know he didn't want to talk about it, but I'm going to try to get him to it right now. I know the inside baseball, but it's even been in the news, but back of the paper. Jesse Ventura, they lied and said that he said he's glad Navy SEALs died and that he got beat up. And there's no witnesses. And he says, okay, I'm going to retract this lawsuit. They won't retract. He sues and says, I'm going to keep suing till you admit that it isn't true. No money, just admit. Then they won't do that. Then Chris Kyle sadly is killed. Then the media says Jesse Ventura is suing a widow. She has insurance. It's News Corp. It's the book. He's the one that's been defamed here. And it's a hoax that he's going after a woman. They have these fundraisers and all this for her because the meanie Ventura is trying to hurt her. It's not true, folks. And she has not lost anything and will lose nothing because there's insurance through News Corp. So the issue here is they've run a hoax. So briefly, it makes me mad, Governor. And you told me off air that the lawsuit's going well.
Yeah, it's going well. Here's the deal with the wife. The wife chose to be the executor of the estate, and she knew full well that this lawsuit was pending with the estate. She didn't have to be the executor. You can get a lawyer to do that. You can get a friend, an uncle, anybody. She made a choice to interject herself into this lawsuit by becoming the executor of the estate. And I'm not going against her. I'm going against a massive insurance company. I'm the little guy here. And it's cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars, and people are telling me I should drop it.
Oh, you told me the number. It's huge.
Who's going to pay me back? Well over $250,000 that this has cost me.
And you gave him the chance.
You clear my name of a fraudulent, fabricated story that never occurred. And that's the bottom line. This has never been about money. I've got my own money. This has never been about money. But if the other side will not admit to the fabrication, well, then money's the only thing that talks at that point. I've been damaged.
By the way, I called you on Skype in Mexico to give you the bad news, and you almost didn't believe me, and we're shaken. And it's wrong to do things to people like this to try to destroy you so you can't run for president. Now, shifting gears in the 2 minutes we've got left, tell me about the Howard Stern situation.
Well, Howard and I floated it by him, and he had some interest in it from the time we were there, and we kind of got Howard twinkle in his eye, and he said it might, this and that, and I'll be out there on Wednesday. And so Wednesday I'm going to point blank him and say, Howard, I can't do it without you because there's certain things I need from Howard to make this successful, and one of the things is I despise raising the money, the bribing of the officials and all that. And if I had someone like Howard, how much money could Howard raise with his radio show? And I don't even want to know about it.
And it's not FCC regulated.
Well, and it certainly wouldn't be packing special interest money. You just make an appeal to everyday citizens. Well, that's what it's supposed to be in the first place.
He could probably
should be done.
He could probably raise $100 million, and then it wouldn't be beholden to be individual donations. And XM Sirius is not under FCC regulations, so he could keep his show while he ran for office.
Absolutely. There's always a method to my madness. You know, there's a reason I choose to do things like I do, and I usually think them out pretty well. And, you know, and believe me, Howard's a very intelligent man, and, you know, people know him as the shock jock, but there's other sides to Howard Stern, not just his performing side. Remember that. You know, all of us perform. People that are in the media industry, we all turn it on and off like you do a light. When
Governor,
it's time to perform, you perform. When it's time not
absolutely.
to perform,
thank you, Governor.
Alex Jones.
All right, folks. Governor Ventura is now gone. And either way you slice it, off air, and he was going to get to it, but we ran out of time. He said a lot of it on air, or I kind of repeated it, and then he agreed with me. He told me he's in serious talks with Howard Stern to run for president and Howard as VP to raise the money, because Ventura hates going around to the fundraisers and promising to do stuff. He absolutely hates it. And you can say what you want about Jesse Ventura. He's a real guy. I mean, I know him in person. I was the one that when he was, because for days he didn't have a cell phone, you know, driving his RV through Mexico to Baja. I called Tyrell. I emailed Jesse, and Ventura called me back on Skype right when he read the email that I had some bad news for him. They needed to talk to myself or Tyrell Ventura. Well, I got up here to the office when I said, try to give me a call on Skype, because he doesn't have telephone down there in the Baja, but he has internet from a wireless deal that works sometimes. And you heard him that Sunday after I'd got him on the phone that Sunday when he'd arrived. I had him on the radio that Sunday to talk about it later in the afternoon. We taped an interview. And I said, yeah, Chris Kyle, you know the Navy SEAL? He says he punched you out for saying that you're glad that Navy SEALs died. He went, Alex, man, I just drove in here, buddy. He's a nice guy off air, kind of more gruff and stuff on air. But he's like, man, what are you talking about? He was like, what? He said, say that again. And then I told him about it and told him what was on Fox News. And he went, huh? I mean, I can't really do the imitation of it because he had it on speaker and his wife was there. And she's like, what? And he's like, when was this? When did they say this? And he was sitting there just dumbfounded. I mean, I'm not describing it well the way he took it. But it was like I'd basically called up and told him somebody was dead, because he's a smart guy. He knew what that meant. They were defaming him, that he was glad Navy SEALs were dead. And they've now got a petition with former Navy SEALs online. You know, he was in it before it was even called the Navy SEALs, the underwater demolition team, to kick him out of it because of him suing Chris Kyle like he's going after a widow. And, I mean, I knew that it wasn't true. And then we didn't just believe Ventura. We called the bar. We talked to the other people, folks that know him. They said, that's ridiculous. Everybody would have heard about that. That's ridiculous. Somebody would have gotten a fight with him if he said that. He was there for a commencement. And I've been around Ventura when he talks to veterans in airports and stuff many times. And he, you know, he's a sentimental guy and, you know, gets tears in his eyes saying, I think it's terrible. He saw a vet that had his leg blown off on prosthesis in an airport and talked to him and got upset. Ventura gets pretty mad in person, folks. I mean, it's not an act. The guy really does have a big temper, which he controls. He's very controlled about it. I've seen him actually get mad at the TSA. And I saw him really get shook up and say that he had to go. And then he called me back later and we taped the interview. And he told me that day, he said, I'm going to have to sue these people. This is crazy. And he's got all the Navy SEALs lined up, the owners, the witnesses, all of it. But none of that's in the media. So the thousands of Navy SEALs that aren't there in San Diego and who aren't in that area, they don't even know that the people at the bar and all that know it never happened. And Chris Kyle even writes in the book that he tells lies. And I'm not trying to myself to hurt some dead guy. I'm sad he's dead. But I just see all this promotion of how he's persecuting this widow and stuff. When I happen to know what Ventura spent, he doesn't even want people to know, folks. It is a lot of money. A lot more than what you heard. And he told him early on, when he'd already spent $50,000 100,000. I've got all the details. He said, you got to stop lying and come out and say this is true, Kyle. He's been in meetings with Kyle. He said, man, you're a liar. I'm going to keep suing you. Do you understand? How dare you? And they won't stop. And now Kyle's dead. And Ventura is not going to stop. And the lawsuit's going forward, by the way. Well, I got some bad news for you and some good news. This just broke. It's up on drudgereport.com from the Washington Times. We're going to get it up on Infowars.com. Senate defeats Cruz filibuster, passes bill that funds Obamacare. And we'll see if Mitch McConnell's right now. They think it's going to be so horrible, which it is, that people are going to get mad and it's going to cause a revolution in this country against socialism and collectivism. I don't think that's going to happen, my gut tells me, because the New World Order has done this other places. And they know that the people who want the free ride are going to be conned again, just like people at a casino, just like people that buy lottery tickets. They're going to say, well, next time it'll be better. Or the Republicans messed it up, and that's why we didn't get all this. I mean, everybody I know is having their premiums increased right now. Everyone, including yours truly. Just got the notice in the mail 2 days ago from Genesis Network, because I have insurance through them, that I've got to pay more money now. And I was talking to Weldon about his wife. She has to pay way more. It's something like 30% more, he was saying. And that's less for women, by the way, for whatever reason, when the actuaries. And her deductible has doubled where she works. I'm not going to say where she works. But the point is that everyone I know is getting the news. And people that don't have insurance, you're going to have to go out and buy it now, or you're going to have to pay a $5,000 penalty. And people say, good, make these folks that don't have it get it. It'll lower it for all of us. Folks, there's always going to be people. The 30 million illegals, even more coming, they're going to bankrupt the healthcare system. This is how they partially collectivize something. It starts going bankrupt. Then they say, oh, the answer is to fully collectivize. That's the trap. And by the way, Adon Salazar just posted an article at Infowars.com that is so incredibly important. Insurance giants that wrote and lobbied for healthcare law cash in. Because Adon heard me talking about the insurance companies writing it, and he heard me talking yesterday about, he's a smart guy, but I don't expect my writers to, be fully immersed in all this like I am. And what they do is, I've told them, I said, you hear me making a claim? And you think it's wild? Go look it up, see if it's true, and if I'm wrong, come to me. And they rarely come to me. I'm glad when they do, because I know about a problem and correct it. So he since yesterday when he heard me talk about this, he went and did a day's worth of research, and he was freaked out this morning. He goes, oh my gosh, they've made tens of billions. Some companies have made $10 billion apiece just since it passed, in their stocks going up. And now they're set to make hundreds of billions. And they wrote it. There's all the proof where they're bragging. He has the article, Infowars.com. Insurance giants that wrote and lobbied for healthcare law cash in. Top 8 health insurance firms, stocks rise since Obamacare implementation. And they've got it from WLP and the New York Stock Exchange. Blue Cross Blue Shield, boom, up massively. United Health, UNH, up massively. Look at that. Man, in the 3 years since it's been in, it has doubled. Doubled. On average, it's about a 40% increase. I mean, we need to break down the actual numbers. I think this has got to be hundreds of billions already. I mean, healthcare is 1/7 the economy. Look at these. Yeah, most of them have doubled. Wow, more than doubled for Humana. That's more than doubled. More than doubled in the last 3 years. Since 2010. And now it's set to skyrocket. You can just see it skyrocketing. Superior Health Plan, skyrocketing. Oh, man, these foreign banks that own it, I mean, this is a gravy train. And the U.S. has the highest amount of money per GDP for health care, and it's going to get worse. They say it's set to double in the next 3 years. Just the cost. I mean, while they chemical weapon us, bioweapon us, and society collapses, now they can control the care, give you less care, and charge you double. I mean, this is the gang rape con move of all time. I mean, I've never seen something this devastating. Oh, man. Small businesses are shutting down everywhere. Tens of millions, what is it, over 40 million have now been put to part-time because of this. It's going to get even worse. Everything's going to start shutting down. And when it all totally collapses, they're going to fully nationalize it, where you're under government socialist health care, but the profits will be offshored and private. Woo, man, I want to hand it to the Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan and the big banks and Bank of England. Incredible. Devastating. You have done it. You have done it. No one has ever put up with something that's this big of a screw job. I have never heard of anything this out in the open. I mean, let me go further. There's hundreds of points. There's Forbes. Obamacare will increase health spending $7,450 for a typical family of 4, and that's the government's own admissions. Oh, but wait, it gets even better. If the death panels don't make you happy, and the government controlling the type of care you're going to get, when it goes fully socialist, it's I don't know. There's so many points. My mind is just racing right now. This is so insane. And the poor people going in, as they phase out health care, and as you don't get surgeries and you don't get taken care of, and as ambulance services don't come after 7 at night anymore, and as the... Oh, yeah, here's the big one. This is all written by the big insurance companies owned by foreign banks on record to shut down all of their competition, the medium-sized clinics, the smaller hospitals. It's all gone. It's all gone. There are clinics all over Texas. I just know because I was reading some of the testimony this year on it. Something like half of the medium-sized hospitals and clinics are announcing they're going to shut down or be sold to the big multinationals. Kind of like the feds come in with water quality regulations in the last decade, written by foreign Dutch and Spanish and German companies mainly. They're the main owners now of U.S. water systems, to where the local water system can't pay to upgrade all this useless, expensive garbage. So they come and say, it's okay, this company's ready to come in and buy it. It's the same thing. They're coming in with regulations that the globalists are all basically exempt from that will bankrupt everything. And so you're going to have less health care. You're going to have to go and get it rationed, and it's going to be under government control. So less hospitals, less clinics, less doctors, less healthcare practitioners, more basically government nurses. The nurses, that's why they're hiring so many. The nurses are going to run everything. They always do in socialist countries, and they'll just implement, here's your pills, here's your whatever. You're not going to be seeing doctors. Hey, enjoy yourselves. You want it, you got it. There'll still be specialty hospitals and things for the elite for a while. But we're going to come back from break and go to Rob, and then we're going to go to Walter, and then we're going to go to Justin, then we're going to go to B.A., then we're going to go to Anthony. We're going to go to everybody that's patiently holding, who want to get into all the news we've been talking about. The good news, since I hadn't gotten to that since Ventura was on with us, Seymour Hersh has come out, and Pulitzer Prize winner, and said that the entire bin Laden raid is completely fake and, quote, one big lie and pathetic, and it just goes on and on. So there's that article, Infowars.com, Prisonplanet.com. It's also on DrudgeReport.com. Then we've got some got warning to avoid Westgate Mall in Nairobi, Kenya, before bloody siege. Kenya's National Intelligence Agency warned some people not to visit the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi before the bloody siege, a warning that was not received by the 67 victims who lost their lives during the attack. Buried at the end of the London Independent report about the incident is a revelation that the NIS did warn the police and officials inside the president's office before the Westgate siege, but its warnings went unheeded. Yeah, and either that means there was a false flag, or it means they knew but were ordered to basically stand down. And you see that time and time again Continuing, individual officials within the NIS also told their family members to avoid the Westgate Mall on Saturday because it would be the target of an attack. Yeah, Rob Dew's brother-in-law in the official Army, Go Army marathon. And he's a top marathoner. And he won't talk to Rob now about this. It was a big freak out. They came up and pulled him and their team out and said, you're not going to finish the marathon right before the bomb went off. Rob Dew's brother-in-law. I'm friends with Rob Dew, friends with his wife. Heard all about his brother-in-law. They're always arguing about the New World Order and stuff. The official Army team, they marathoners, said, you're being pulled out to be hydrated. They're like, what? I'm fine. It's just you're being pulled out. Because there's a drill down at the end with the guys with black backpacks everywhere. But don't worry, they gave you the Zarnet brothers, so everything's okay. Everybody can go back to sleepy time. And now we know there's an ordered stand down with the Navy Yard shooting. That's official. See, the difference here is, and why the establishment should be paying attention is, everybody knows your tricks now. So you're not doing this in the dark anymore. You're doing this at high noon. So there's that news. There's some other breaking news up on Infowars.com I haven't gotten to yet, but that's going to have to wait because I'm going to go right to your phone calls until this board of calls is out of the way before I go back into news. But newly declassified government documents, pre-9/11 bin Laden hijack plot was ignored by U.S. intelligence. That's breaking. That's Johnny Cash singing the Depeche Mode song, bringing us in. We ought to have John the Revelator song. I like that.
Someone to hear your prayers, someone who's there.
Sitting alone by the telephone. All right, we're going to go to your phone calls right now, and then I'll just get into a whole host of news we haven't covered yet and breaking news towards the end of this hour. I don't even know if I'll tell the Russell Brand story of what happened last night. Russell Brand here in town. Because if you don't tell the story properly, it won't come off right. But Russell's a really nice guy, really smart. Meeting him in person, he's really big. Like, tall, muscular, and very imposing. You can really feel he has a lot of energy. And was really wound up. And, of course, he's becoming a bigger and bigger phenomenon and sensation. But it's the stories of wherever I get invited, because I didn't bug him, and he was nice and sending me private tweets saying, you're going to come, and then I was not going to go just because I didn't want to bug him, and then I was getting calls, hey, you coming, you coming? And so literally, once the show already started, we get in the car, we're up here working at like 7:30 at night, and I go, okay, let me go put on a dress shirt and stuff, let's go down there, get the cameras. We're up here working on Obama Deception too. And then I get down there, and it was not his security people because he didn't have any security. He had 2 Austin cops who were real nice and listeners. That was his security. The security people at the Paramount Theater, it was just unbelievable. I mean, I cannot go to public big events anymore. I just cannot stand it. It didn't matter if I was on the guest list. It didn't matter what. It was just like, they were even treating Russell Brand's people bad. And I was just like, why? Why do you people act like this? And it shows the mindset of the petty bureaucrat. I'm going to tell that story. In fact, I'm going to tell that story after I take calls. Because it was funny, actually, but actually bizarre at the end. Bizarre, ladies and gentlemen. Just like going to the Megadeth concert. It didn't matter if I was with Dave Mustaine. With the event security, not their security. I'm telling you, I mean, it's bizarre. It's like the new religion is like, go become a security guard. I'm telling you. And I was laughing, not in a mean way. I mean, it was bizarre. Just wait till I tell the story. But his assistant is very, very sweet, very, very nice. See, I'm already telling the story. I can't say a story's coming up, then I just tell the story right there. Let's go to your calls. This is a short segment. Rob in Delaware, thanks for holding. What'd you calling about on this Friday edition, sir?
Hey, Alex, how you doing? First of all, I just want to say thanks for doing what you do, because you're helping out a lot of people. You woke me up.
Brother, we're all in this together. That's why I say don't thank me. I mean, we're all in the same boat, brother. I'm bailing, right, and people are asking me for bailing. And, folks, if we don't bail this sucker out and fix the leak, we're going down.
Right, right. Well, the main reason I'm calling Alex today is last week I go to my psychiatrist appointment.
Oh.
He slips me a note. Or not a note, but a page that's been printed off of the Sleuth Journal about, it's titled, FEMA's Preparing a Major Event in Region 3. And it goes on to say how, you remember you were talking about the troops that they're training in Russia to come over here and control us?
Yeah, they actually officially say they'll use Russian troops for riot control.
Here it is right here. UN peacekeepers began training the 4th week of July and will complete their 9-week training by October 1st. See, all these dates are the same, too. They are learning English as well as the U.S. weapon systems, how to use our weapons. Then it goes on to say how they've ordered $11 million worth of...
Yeah. Let me stop you. Say again the name of the newspaper so we can pull it up for TV viewers and tell radio listeners. What's the headline?
The headline is FEMA Preparing for a Major Event in Region 3. And it's the Sleuth, S-L-E-U-T-H, Journal, Sleuth Journal.
Well, look, it's been in the New York Times and 100 other papers conservatively. There's a giant turn out the lights, power grid out, martial law drill set to start November 1st. So we're getting real close to it now. And we've done a whole bunch of reports on it, and I've got my reporters. I want updates every week. I think they're doing one tonight on the latest on this. But the drill is to train everybody to accept federalization. It doesn't mean that something is going to happen, and we have the article on screen. It doesn't mean that something will actually happen. Like, they'll have MSNBC probably come out and say that I said that the West Coast or East Coast will be blown up on the state. I'm saying the opposite. But thank you for bringing that up to us. We are following that. We are tracking that. We know our listeners are extremely concerned, and you should be.
It's Alex Jones.
How do you stop the special interests that operate as basically global mafias? Well, not basically, they are. They're above the classical mafia. You become aware of them and their criminality. You become distrustful of government and big institutions again. You become fiercely independent, and you don't roll over to whatever directives or edicts they shove in your face. And you then organize as citizens around basic human rights and liberties that are beautifully enshrined in the Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence. And you enforce that every day in little ways. And it's a constant battle. We'll never live in a perfect world. Not one run by man. But by being aggressive, by being fiercely independent, you create an atmosphere of human liberty and human exceptionalism instead of an atmosphere of gangs and cliques and collectivism. We know that collectivism and big government creates a nightmare situation. We know that. We know it's horrible. We know that it is the ruination of civilizations. Like a heroin addiction, it feels good at first, but leads to the road to perdition. And it really just comes down to that. A free people will not be slaves. An aggressive people will not be slaves. A liberty-loving people will not be slaves. But they gave us high-tech TV, brainwashing, disinformation. We use more drugs than any other country per capita, more alcohol, more entertainment, more everything. We are just a corrupt nation. Just like in the Bible, when Israel would become moral and upright, they would become incredibly successful and dominant. Then they would become decadent and corrupt with their dominance, and they would decline, collapse, and become conquered. And it's the same history in every other part of the world. It's just that the Jews were good at writing and keeping everything written down. So we have a very detailed story of what happened to them. But now with archaeology and the Rosetta Stone and the fact that they've been able to translate all the other hieroglyphs and languages, it's the same story over and over and over and over and over and over again. Trailblazers, men and women of strength and honor, build civilizations, and then their great-grandkids become decadent slobs, psychopaths take over. The culture becomes about manipulating people against each other, not about building a better society. And then things collapse. And that's where we're going right now. And the elite knows that and writes books about it, but says technocracy and the robots will keep their system from collapsing, and the public scum, so they'll just, soft kill us ahead of the real kill. The silent weapons for quiet wars. And we're living in a science fiction movie. And all you've got to do is realize how crazy things are, and it's all over. We can turn it around, folks. But not if you won't admit how much trouble we're in. But I see from government at every corner, corporate systems, you name it, more and more people realize their kids are in danger. And that bowing down to this, giving in, is what's gotten us to this point. And the human spirit is reignited. It doesn't mean we're winning, but we're in the fight, folks. And the last round, we've been winning the last round. And it's time to decide in this fight that you're not going to get knocked out. You're committed. It's life and death. You're going to flip the switch, and you're going to go in there and defend humanity. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it's flipping a switch in sports, in business, in life, with God, letting God into your heart. In life, it's time to flip the switch. Yeah, I need you to make that decision to flip the switch and really get aggressive about this stuff. We can turn things around, but you're going to have to flip the switch. You're going to have to be a leader in your area. You're going to have to get aggressive. You're going to have to go with what you can prove, not with what people say. You're going to have to really get out there and not have a hope and a dream of what the system says, but realize it is predatory at its heart. At the center of the web, it is liquid death, and it's the enemy, and nothing they say can you listen or buy it, just like Jesse Ventura said. I agree with him. I mean, it has to come to that point of, even when you're doing something good for me, I know there's a bad reason at the end of it, and I don't want to be associated with you. I'm not breaking bread with you. I'm not being nice to you. I'm not giving you aid and comfort, succor. I'm not giving you any companionship, nothing. All you get from me is resistance. And that's a spirit, ladies and gentlemen. But don't spend all your time just hating the New World Order. It's a spirit of, we got to protect the people. Let's go to your calls. I need to shut up. B.A. in North Carolina, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, can you hear me, Alex?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Long-time listener, about third-time caller. You'll find this story interesting. I am a small business owner. I'm actually in the insurance industry. I won't say which company, obviously, but it's big. We do broker health insurance, and I was in a conference call yesterday on the Affordable Care Act, and how it was going to impact business owners as well as the public. And it was interesting. We had a rep on from one of the largest health insurance companies in the country, and he was saying about how it would be a service for us to go ahead and quote people now, because whatever rate we sell them now, we can lock in for a year, whereas if they buy the same product January 1st, it's going to be a ton more. This is coming from the health insurance company. I mean, this guy's been there for 12 years.
Well, let me just stop you briefly, because this is a fact. They admit it's going to probably double it in the next year. It's already gone up just beforehand, as you know. Have you seen the movie The Incredibles?
No, I haven't. I don't watch a lot of TV. The last movie I saw was Avatar about, 5-6 years ago?
Sure. I mean, my point is most listeners have, so it's a way to inform them. It's a very good children's movie. I liked it. Most of the stuff's a bunch of bills, but the reason I raise it is the hero in it is really an insurance salesman by day, or he's a retired superhero, and he's there secretly telling little old ladies how to actually get their health care with the insurance company. And I actually know that there are good people in the system who do want to sell a good product and who do want to be fair and who do want to help people. And that's why the system wants to get rid of the competition, calling it competition. So I use that as the analogy of when we criticize the insurance companies, we're criticizing who runs them, what it's turning into, not the good people inside. And what's in that movie is art imitating life. There are so many good people in the system that are trying to make it work for the people, and that's what Obamacare does, is take away your capability to do that. But I'm going to shut up. You've been holding forever. Go ahead and make your point.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. No, getting back to the story, though, I had approximately 30 of my colleagues on the conference call with this rep. And after he kind of explained that, rates are going up next year, they've already gone up 60%, I believe, in the past 2 years.
Yes.
And I've seen that because, I've been in insurance for a few years now. And we had one lady in particular come on. Now, this is a business owner like myself, educated lady. And she basically said, well, from the information that I've gotten and the state senators that I've talked to and the congressmen and all this, it seems like it's exactly the opposite of what you're telling me. And I almost fell out of my chair because, I mean, this is like the first time she had considered that maybe Obamacare wasn't going to help people. And she was serious. And she said, so it almost seems to me like it's been a lie. And this guy on the phone, our rep, he literally said, well, I don't want to get political on this call. This isn't the nature of it, but it is a lie. And my whole office just about fell out laughing. But, I mean, that's how much disinformation's out there whenever you've got people in the industry still thinking it's a good thing. And we're, 3 days from October 1st, the rollout, first part of the rollout?
That's right, and you're right. The numbers are between 55 and 70%, depending on whose numbers you look at. AP, Reuters, Forbes, it's 55, 65, 70%, depending on what number you look at, increase. But my dad's in healthcare management. We're talking 22 offices that he personally manages. He's got these big healthcare things outside dentistry that want to hire him. He's actually a consultant, and he is shaken by it because he knows it's written by big insurance to shut down more clinics, to then bankrupt everything and nationalize it with select groups above it to knock out all the smaller insurance salespeople. I mean, it's a corporate consolidation screw job, and that's why I started hyperventilating about 30 minutes ago on air because it's almost like a panic attack on air mixed with sick laughter because it's so disgusting that the public hears these lies, and the lies are so big that there's no way that they could be lying to me. And then even as the premiums go up, and even as the deductibles go up, yes, people on welfare now will get free health care. They always got free health care on Medicare and Medicaid. Hospitals aren't supposed to turn you away. It's charity care. And people call in and go, there's no charity care, you're a liar, when I know all about it. I've worked in health care in college, and it's so frustrating to sit there and know I'm right and to have these ignorant people telling me I'm a liar when all I'm trying to do is help them, and I don't even have a dog in this fight. And then I think to myself, what are they thinking when this goes in? How are they thinking they're going to get away with it? And then I realize they're planning to stage something giant, so horrible that we're going to be under martial law, and it won't matter if they've already nationalized health care. The only way they're going to get away with this is like some giant war scenario or bioweapons scenario. Because let me tell you, I've looked at this. This will, like Mitch McConnell says, end collectivist, end socialism for 20 years. It will discredit it forever. Okay? It will absolutely destroy it. But they don't care they're going forward, and the elite are smart. They wouldn't be doing this unless they thought they've got a plan. Let me ask you this, BA in North Carolina. What do you think about what I'm saying?
Well, I think you're right on a lot of it, and obviously, you know, you've been talking about how the premiums are going to go up for a while, and as far as the event that they may or may not stage, I mean, it's certainly in the cards, and I mean, it won't be the first time they've done it. It will definitely.
Well, the question is, here's the question. We don't know what event it's going to be. My question to you is, how do they think they're going to get away with this?
I don't think they really care. You know, if the move is to siphon off money from the public and to ultimately, wreck the economy, then everything's going to plan. And then actually convincing people that you're doing it for them and that you love them and everything like that. You know, and I wanted to shed a little bit of light on on what's actually going to happen, because there is information available if you go to healthcare.gov, and it rolls out obviously January 1st, but there are subsidies for people actually up to 4 times that make up to 4 times what is considered the poverty level. But if you even go put your information in there and you see what the subsidy is, you know, and our rep even discussed this, you know, you could still be having a family or an individual paying $1,000 a month. And so what's going to happen come January 1st is there's going to be a lot of interest. There's going to be a lot of people that want quotes that weren't able to obtain coverage due to pre-existing conditions or what have you. You know, they're going to show up, you know, on dialysis or whatever case may be, and they're going to get a quote on it. But if you make money, if you make any kind of a living, it's going to be unaffordable, not affordable. Because
no, exactly. It's meant to bankrupt the system and make it unaffordable for everybody that's already paying the highest price in the world in the graphs for health care. That's it, exactly. God bless you, and I appreciate your inside points. Look, here's the issue. It's also a bait and switch. There's 10,000 pages of amendments on a 3,000-page bill. There are hundreds of nightmares in there that have been discovered. And then they won't say how they're going to implement them. They won't say what the interpretation is. It's just like the UN treaty is open-ended. It's like everything they do is just a power grab. It federalizes things. It allows the government to pick winners and losers, the government to give exemptions. It's meant to shut down small business, shut down competition. The big guys are all exempt. And yes, there will be some free goodies to the illegal aliens and people on welfare. Notice the unions are flipping out because they're noticing their premiums are going up and their insurance, their deductibles going up. I mean, that's why this has gone from being unpopular to super unpopular, and the storm hadn't even hit yet. See what I'm saying? The storm hasn't hit yet, and I don't even know what to say at this point. It's so bad. But again, it's designed to get government control over what the doctors can do, because when it increases the prices again, they're going to say we got to have affordability, so they're going to come in and ration the care and stuff. They've done this in other countries, so it looks confusing to people. It's like shoving a horse in a meat grinder. You're like, man, that's really gross, but on the other end comes out ground meat. And we know what comes out the other end. Centralized, corrupt, crony systems, and they've got this eugenics program going into place with everybody with all the deficiencies and the problems and the fluoride and the glands all screwed up, to where they know everybody's going to start having even more problems as they carry out the eugenics. And so they've got to get it where we can't get real health care, and we get nationalized health care. I mean, that's the program here. By the way, speaking of health care, we're going to come back and take more calls. Survival Shield. I've done massive research with medical doctors, nutritionists, you name it. And nascent iodine is the biggest unknown info out there. It is one of the biggest secrets that the public is not aware of. And we have double strength nascent iodine at half the price of the leading competitors. We went to the best lab, FDA accredited, inspected, all that, with Dr. Group, had them develop it, put up all the money to get it, and it's hard to get nascent iodine. It's raw iodine. It's pure iodine. It's not the chemical garbage at the store or the pills or all that. We have a video breaking it down up at InfowarsLife.com. It's the first product of many we're going to be rolling out. It's simply amazing, and you can find out all the details at InfowarsLife.com. Here's the other news. I ordered a lot of this, and we are half sold out of it in one day. And I thought this would be a month, supply of it. So we're having more manufactured right now. But then when that's manufactured, they don't even know when the next time is they can get a hold of nascent iodine. Okay? I mean, there's a reason it's $60 a bottle. We've got it for $30 a bottle. And it's double strength. So we're bringing you a good deal here. It helps fund the radio show as well. It's great for cuts, you name it. But what it's really good for is your thyroid inside your body, your whole metabolism. This is what your thyroid needs versus the fluoride they put in the water that it doesn't. This is a supercharger across the board, according to Dr. Group and so many others, Dr. Brownstein, you name it. And I've been doing it for a couple months. My wife has, and it is dynamic what it's done for me. So you can get it up to 5 packs. People are asking for more than 5 packs and get discounts. I think we're going to add a 10-pack on there, but I'll go talk to Weldon and shipping back there. The issue is that this will probably be sold out by Sunday. In fact, it might be sold out tomorrow if this continues, and then it'll be back ordered a couple weeks. And then when that's gone, it might be 2-3 months. So victims of our own success, but this couldn't come at a better time as a blessing for us to promote a great product like this that everybody needs to fund our operation, because we've been behind the 8-ball in my expansion to fight the globalists. So we are launching InfowarsLife.com. You can go there and get Survival Shield, nascent iodine. Nuclear iodine is what it's known as. And it is the radiation blocker. It's not nuclear radioactive itself. It's just called nuclear iodine because it's in the raw form of the atoms, as in the nuclei, is the way the scientists describe it. And it is powerful. InfowarsLife.com. Secure yours now. Let me just briefly tell the Russell Brand story, then I'll go into overdrive and go to Walter and Justin and Anthony and Scott and Russ, everybody that's holding. I'm going to get to you. Russell Brand's a big comedian, movie star, and it's great to, get him on the show and then go and interview him. We'll have a video interview we did last night. It'll air sometime next week on the radio/TV show that you're listening to and watching right now. But people say, well, that guy's not really a Christian. Why are you talking to him? He wasn't even a spiritualist 3 or 4 years ago, and he's listening to the show, and that's good. So he's, I believe, on the path to waking up. And so I got invited out there, but I didn't want to bug him. And then a tweet came in, a private tweet, hey, are you going to come? And then I went to get tickets, and it was sold out, so I just ignored it. And he sent another tweet to me and said, hey, are you going to come? And I said, yeah, okay. And then I was just kind of sneak and not go because I don't want to bug people. I knew it would turn into a circus. And then we get a phone call by his main assistant saying, hey, where are you sitting? We've got you, front row seats, and, we've got you a guest list. Who do you want to put on it? So we sent him an email back saying, okay, put 3 people on it. I'll bring a couple camera guys. But then I was halfway not going to go because I don't want to deal with the security. And then I go, okay, they sent me another message like, where are you? Right before it started. I guess Russell really is a fan of the listener, like he said. So I get in the car at 7:30, drive down there. The show starts at like 8. They've closed the doors, but I walk up. And the guy opens the door and goes, hello, Alex. One of the people that works at the Paramount Theater, beautiful old theater that I've been going to since I was a kid. When I come down here in the summer, my mom would take me there because I'm from Dallas. But we'd come down here and go to the theater she went to when she was a kid. She saw all those spaghetti westerns and Dr. Strangelove and 2001 Space Odyssey when she was in high school there. So I could tell the story for an hour just because it ties into so many things. And I'm not telling it because it's a celebrity story. It's a psychology story. So we get there. The doors are closed, but they have a policy of letting you in even if they've closed. It doesn't matter. And I try to open it. It's not open. The guy opens and goes, hey, what do you want, Alex? Guy knew who I was. I see the bartender going, hey, Alex, come here. I got a drink for you. Cops are waving at me. The door's open, and I go, yeah, no, I'm here to see Russell Brand. If you don't have a ticket, you're not coming in. And I couldn't even say anything. I went, nope, I want a ticket or you're not coming in. And he slams the door. I got guys with cameras and stuff. It's like a religion to like, oh, you want the celebrity. It's not the celebrities that act like that. It's anyone around it who wants that power. It's like their reflected glory. So the door opens again, and I go, I know the manager of this place. I'm good friends with her. Well, she isn't here right now. And I went, well, listen, I'm on the door slams again. I knock on it again. Door opens. He goes, hey, man, I told you. And the cops are laughing at me. And they're, hey, Alex, how you doing? But until they were listeners. I talked to them later. They were. And I'm feeling pathetic because I didn't even really want to go to this. I wanted to see Russell Brand, but I didn't want to go through this. Plus, shake hands all night myself. I'm tired. I'm up here working at night on a film. And it just went on. So I go, okay, forget it. Let's go over across the street and eat sushi. There's a Japanese place across the street. We go over there. I send her a text at the end of the meal. I go, I couldn't see the show. They won't let me in. She goes, what? You're on the guest list. I go, I know. She goes, I'll be out there. How long can you be there? I go, in 5 minutes, I'll be there. I'm back out. They come and say, we've got a woman claiming she's with Russell Brand. She's the head of it. Nicola. Nice, smart, beautiful lady, the head of it. Then they go, well, we're not letting him through. It doesn't matter. They got cameras. But wait, you said he could come in. Russell Brand at the end had to order them to bring me to the back. And then the people there that are a union shop that run the theater were like, all right, we'll let you talk to him, but you got 10 minutes. Let's just do it outside. They're like, no. It was like the inmates are running the asylum is my point. This is an example of how tyranny in government itself grows. Groups get control, and they just enjoy dominating everyone. And that's why I don't go out in public a lot. It's why I don't like going to events anymore, because you've got to be messed with by the little minions. We'll be back in Overdrive. Stay with us.
Cal-Ben Soap Company can save you.
Alex Jones.
All right, let me just get through these calls now, and then I'll kind of recap and finish the Russell Brand story. And I haven't told you the end of it and why I'm even telling it. It was just like when I went to see Megadeth and was like backstage, and it's like I'm just going to see my friends, and I like their music, and it's not their security. It's the whoever the event is. They're even mean to the people that are the stars, basically. Because when Russell Brand sent back, his head of his tour, and is like, this is Alex Jones. He's on our list. They didn't want to be proven wrong, and I guess they didn't like me or something. And we're like, We got a lady here claiming, and then even after that, they're like, we don't know if you're going to be allowed back. And then finally when I was, I'd be messed with by each usher just trying to get backstage. And then when I got there, the union people, some of them were listeners shaking my hand, but the head guy was like shaved head and a beard, comes over and he goes, long beard, he goes, all right, he's really busy. He's got just a few minutes for you. And then I asked them, they go, no, we didn't tell that guy that. Russell asked you to come. I mean, it was just like the religion of messing with me. And the religion of, I want to be part of it, and they're their gatekeeping, and that's their power. And it's just like, people like this are ruining live events. They're ruining special events. They are. I love the security at the W. I'll go see stuff at the W because they don't mess with me and henpeck me. And I can just pull up in the loading bay to go behind the thing to interview somebody, where it's Joe Rogan or Megadeth or whoever it is. See, I said I'd tell the story after the break, and I'm already telling the story right now. It's just unbelievable. And the crazy part was the people messing with me knew who I was, knew that they wanted to talk to me, and tried everything they could to stop it, and then acted like they hadn't done that once they all got defeated. And were sitting there glaring at me angry that I had gotten in there past all their baloney. I mean, I want to empower people. It's like zoning bureaucrats under Agenda 21. They admit they want to wreck small businesses. They want to wreck little guys. We have a story coming out next week on that here in Austin. They want to hurt the independents. I'll finish the Russell Brand, go to break, and come back, I promise. I promise your calls next segment because it's long. You won't be interrupted. Walter and everybody else is holding. But, and then here's Russell Brand in closing, who's all about celebrities a joke. They're manipulating us through archetypes. All this corporate stuff. He's awakening. He's a listener of my show, but he's awakening through a lot of other stuff. And here he is making fun of himself in the interview and his outfit and narcissism and everything. He's using narcissism in the public to try to wake them up, but still the platform he's in is narcissism with all of these women. I don't think I've seen so many beautiful women. That guy is popular with the ladies, just throwing themselves at all these Katy Perry lookalikes we were noticing that were there. I mean, it was wild. It was wild. And then I'm just there looking at the whole thing. Of course, the cops were like senior cops they have for security there. They were really smart, nice guys, listeners, friends with the person that runs it that I'm friends with. So I'm not even knocking the Paramount, by the way. It's a beautiful, nice theater. Has a lot of old movies they show there that you won't see anywhere else for a good theater experience. I like it. But I'll be honest with you. I take my kids probably once a year to see old movies there, maybe twice a year. I'm almost, want like a card from the management to go. To like hold it up when they come. It's Alex Jones. He's a celebrity. Let's mess with him. See, that's the thing. People mess with celebrities. Everybody thinks they want to be a celebrity. No, you don't want to be a celebrity. People want to make stuff up about you. They want to get close to you to make stuff up about you. Or if they're not into you or whatever, they want to show you that you're nobody. In fact, one guy's like, just because you're a radio host and doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want around here. This is after I was completely gentlemanly and treated like total crap over. I mean, it was a joke level. I went with Shane Steiner and his wife to the whole Megadeth thing. And he was saying it was like a joke how he got messed with just over and over again, every level by the security, pecking. Because that's their religion. And I'm telling you, within that is the spirit of the New World Order. That's what they want to do. They want to dominate and control, and little lesser minions are at minimum wage messing with people. We'll be back with your calls. But Russell Brand's great. The United States spend the largest percentage of GDP. All right, going directly to your calls. And I want to be clear, I wasn't telling that whole Russell Brand story to be pissy, as they would say, or complaining. It's the societal thing that one of our crew members does electrical work, crew work for big bands, one of our engineers. And he said, no, I know the group that runs the security, not the actual staff of the Paramount. And he goes, they are the worst in the city. Because they would have one person come up and get in our face, and then we'd walk to the next level, and another one would do it just for fun. It's kind of like with the open carry thing down by the Capitol with the legal black powder guns. One cop comes up, harasses you. The next cop comes up and harasses you. It's a tactic. And Chris was saying that he's been around those guys where they admit, look, I get $8 an hour. I have this job so I can mess with people and have power. They actually say that, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm just saying that's the spirit we're dealing with. And now we're going to have that spirit fully over our health care with our health records and everything being used and national health care being denied to people. You know, if the IRS is harassing the Tea Party and gun owners and religious groups and trying to make churches pay for abortions, do you think they're going to use national health care to harass people? Well, they already are, folks. They already are in the implementation of it. It's not a question. It's already going on. And that's what I hate about tyranny, is it just lets all these nobodies who've never had real power and don't know what a responsibility it is messing with people just to mess with you. Even when Russell Brand said, yeah, I called him here to interview me. I want to meet Alex Jones. They're like, all right, you can talk to him for 10 minutes. I'm like, did you say that to them? No. Sorry about that. You know, and then they're just sitting there looking at me the whole time. And I'm like, what on earth is this? And it's just they hate me because I'm successful. That's what it is. And they've got that job so they can mess with me all day. And it's the same thing with bureaucrats, same thing with bad cops. The two cops that were there were laughing at them the whole time because they were out front when it started. It took 2 hours. And we went and ate for an hour, but it was a 2-hour period. 2 hours of a gauntlet of people messing with us. And literally, but it like made it triumphant when we finally got the interview, which was no big deal. I mean, I'm happy to get the interview. We're going to air it next week. And it was pretty powerful, by the way, the video interview. But it's just, I mean, I don't think I can go the next time some famous person's in town for one day. It happens all the time. They invite me down to meet them. I don't think I can be around it. It's just like I don't want to be messed with by bureaucrats. I mean, but in a way, I need to go to more of these and I guess challenge it or something. I don't know what to do. Oh, man. But I tell you, the bartender was real nice and everybody was real nice other than that. Let's go to Walter. I apologize for making you hold so long, brother, in New Jersey. And then we'll go to Anthony and others. Go ahead, Walter. Thank you for holding.
Thank you for taking my call, Alex. That's, you know, talking about the insurance companies, they always did that. They would put you on hold, send you to another department. Hopefully you go away and leave them alone. Yeah, so don't feel bad. I know what you went through there, boss. But all right, I wanted to talk about bin Laden and
sure. More important things. More important. But listen, I'm not like I went through something. It's more funny. I'm sad for those people. That's what I'm saying. I'm sad for humanity. Yes, bin Laden. For those that don't know, if you just joined us, Seymour Hersh has come out saying he has the intel. The whole story's fake. This is a devastating blow against the globalists. Go ahead.
Well, we knew that Benazir Bhutto in a David Frost interview quite a few years, I guess it was like 2006 or 2007, said that bin Laden had been assassinated by one of his own people. That's number one. Number two, you've had Dr. Steve Pieczenik on. He said that the man was totally sick and with Marfan syndrome. That's another point.
Yeah, no, he was in Dubai, American-owned hospitals, barely alive in 2001. That's CBS News.
Exactly. And then you've got Mr. Obama coming out on May 1st, which is May Day in Communist Russia, and the anniversary of the birth of the Illuminati as well, back in 1770.
I was about to say it predates Russia. It's actually Illuminati Day.
Right. Announcing the demise of Osama bin Laden in a false operation that you could obviously see very clearly on that Situation Room photograph that they were
Sure. How big is it, though, that it's all collapsing? I mean, do people realize the history we're living in the middle of right now?
Well, hopefully the smart listeners that pay attention to your show and other shows like it are realizing that it's all been just a big scam and a big sham the whole time. It's going to take a lot more to get the rest of the world awake. And I feel sorry for those that don't want to wake up because they are going to fall victim to a really serious type of tyranny that's going to crush them in their beds at night, unfortunately.
Well said, sir. God bless you and have a great weekend and be safe. Don't let the you-know-whats grind us down, is the old saying. Just keep fighting, keep trying to be as good as you can, and keep trying to stand up for basic humanity. Let's go ahead and it's important to laugh at these people. You know, the cops that were there that night. I got to talk to them a lot. They were listeners, great guys. I want to get them in too much trouble being listeners. They were laughing at the security people the entire time with me. He's like, I know she's with him. I've been backstage. Oh, that's the head person. No, I know you're on the guest list. I know. I mean, it was just like, and then they were in the back laughing at them with us. And that's good to see the cops like that. Just get it, because it's pathetic. And it's good for cops not to act like those security people. I mean, it's important across the board to laugh at the system. Anthony in Pennsylvania, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, thanks for taking my call. And you know, hearing you talk about the way people treat you and the way they treat a lot of people that are trying to spread the truth, it really is. It's very dangerous. And I called to tell you a quick story, and every time I call, it seems like it's a story about intimidation. What I've been doing recently, I still confront politicians, but I've been confronting a lot of mainstream media, journalists and reporters. Well, yesterday, I was at a local store, and a cameraman from a local mainstream media outlet recognized me, and he literally attacked me in the store. He threatened my life. I was able to get my phone out real quick, and I recorded it, so I put the video up now, and you could see him. He is completely...
Say the name of the video. Say the name of the video.
It says Crazy... It's titled Crazy Cameraman Attacks Journalist. And I posted it on your Infowars Facebook page. But, I mean, he's completely irate, and he says, I'm going to bring down your radio show, okay? So this is amazing. Okay,
so he knows you have a local radio show. Okay, well, let me stop you real quick. Because you're with We Are Change, right? You've called before.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Anthony, okay. I remember a few months ago this happened. It's funny you mentioned cameraman, because a lot of them are real nice. I have been attacked by mainstream media cameraman, let's not exaggerate, more than 10 times. Twice when I was covering Bush in the whole election fight in 2000, I would come down in Bullhorn at the governor's mansion, and the cops knew I had a First Amendment. I had an ABC News guy run over and hit me with both his hands open like a girl in the neck and come after me. And then it had to happen another time. But, yeah, they think they're allowed to assault you because they're in the mainstream media. And I had well, it's like Michael Moore's bodyguards. He comes out of a restaurant. I see him walking down the street. They said, we're taking you to be able to interview Michael Moore. It was a guy that worked for Cablevision, knew his people. We get there, and Michael Moore goes, no, I'm not going to talk to him now. So he ducks in this restaurant, so I'll wait 30 minutes. I get some food at the restaurant next door. His security guards come out, 6 of them. There's video of this in my film, Martial Law. And I'm like going, hey, Michael, why do you have bodyguards, but we can't have guns? And the guy like starts elbowing me. So I hit him back. But the point is they think they're allowed to hit you because they're with a celebrity. And it's the opposite. So Anthony, we'll look into that. God bless you. Thanks for the call. Let's go ahead and go to Russ in Texas. Russ, you're on the air. Welcome.
Thanks, Alex, for taking my call. I'd like to make a few points. The first thing is I see that the churches have no idea what's going on with them. In 1933, Adolf Hitler went to the Catholic Church and it said, if you don't stop talking politics against our Nazi party, we're going to initiate assassination squads against your priests. So in 1933, the Catholic Church signed a concordat which said they would not speak against the politics of the Nazi party. We see the same scenario in the 501c3 tax.
Yeah, that's the clergy response teams on record. Most big preachers are on the federal payroll and are given faith-based money and are now government agents. It's pure evil.
And it's absolutely reduced the church to religious status. The Christianity is not a religion. It is an absolute personal...
Well, sir, it's worse. It's worse than the church being reduced to religion and not spiritual. It's reduced the churches across the board. Even if it's a Buddhist temple, they're part of this stuff now, or a Sikh temple, or Catholic, or Protestant, or Orthodox. They are coming in saying, work with us, spy on people, here's money. They're being turned into secret agents who have betrayed their sacred oath to try to wake people up spiritually. So it is the essence of authoritarianism.
Another connection to the fascist ideology that we're seeing grow. The church has basically handed over its birthright. Its birthright is its...
Sir, it's no longer a church. They are now government PSYOP operations masquerading as churches. They are even if the preacher himself is not evil, if he consciously goes along with it, he is now putting on the robes of the New World Order and the Antichrist.
If Christianity wants to rise again, it's going to have to throw off that shield of 501c3 status, retain its birthright, which is its ability to stand up against and speak against principalities and spiritual.
I agree. Hey, what do you think about all this news coming out with bin Laden not being killed, Seymour Hersh? That's the most respected reporter out there, probably. Total bombshell, amazing integrity from him. We already know that. That's a staged event. The SWAT team's coming out saying that was a stand-down order, that they think it's suspicious at the Naval Yard. Just across the board, everybody's going public. The Kenya situation, prior knowledge info out. Both our articles are up at drudgereport.com on that subject. I mean, this is getting crazy.
Oh, this is bombshell, Alex, but until people return to Christ and establish their relationship with Jesus Christ, he is not going to give them the power and authority to stand up against this wickedness and these wars and all the stuff that's going on. We must return to Christ and get ourselves right.
Well, I agree with you, but the problem is, I meet a lot of nice preachers. I go to a lot of churches. I go with friends. I go with family. And, man, you go a couple times, you always get the Homeland Security sermon. You can tell it was written by the feds. I'll go up and talk to the preacher, and they'll kind of freak out. It's just very sad. It's very depressing to see the New World Order taking over the church. When the church led us against King George, across the board, Christian churches led the fight against King George with 235 years ago, and now we're the opposite. And look, as Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and all of them said, immoral people cannot be free. And folks, I cannot believe how evil stuff's getting. And it's scary, because if you study history, when people get this decadent, Katie, bar at the door. Thank you, Russ. Flynn, in like Flynn from New York, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Alex. How you doing?
Good, buddy.
Thank you so much for taking the call. I've tried to call a couple of times, but not so pressing as what I wanted to contact you about today. I've been watching the currencies and banking industry scandals and all this other crap around the world, and fiat currencies all doing their thing and all the manipulation. One thing that's been percolating in the background I've had my eye on is the dinar, the Iraqi dinar. I've been watching the banks if you see a bank declare a bank holiday, that means that they're doing something really big on the inside. Panama just declared a bank holiday. They shut down all services, no transactions, all the ATMs are suspended until October 1st. Now, with a couple of things going on around the world, I've got a theory that the oil default currency is going to collapse as the U.S. dollar does, and it's going to be transferred to the Iraqi dinar. I think this is what's about to happen. This is the first bank holiday I've seen since September 1st, which, I don't know if you heard the news out of the Vatican, in July, the new Pope signed a removal of immunity under Roman Curia laws, which means all maritime laws around the world that dictate commerce and mercantilism now who are dictated under the authority of the Vatican, they just removed all immunity. So everybody that had immunity from any kind of criminal war crimes, etc., they've now just lost their default immunity underneath the Roman Curia. So, and then the blackout's happening on November 1st. Something big is happening right now.
Yeah, Goldseek is reporting bank holiday in Panama announced. I guess this is broke yesterday. I wasn't aware of that. And we're going to go through and look for some other sources on that. I know that I'm on news here. I don't see any sources directly from them, but we'll do some more. We'll do some more research into that. Let me see. World Finance is saying, let me see bank holiday. Let me add bank holiday to it. It's not the kind of holiday you want, folks. What else do you have to say about that, sir?
Well, that's primarily it. I don't, I try not to make too many predictions and whatnot because I don't like looking like a fool. But this is something that I've been watching for a while, and it really looks like this might be the tipping point. I mean, like what? Bernanke just tried to step down as the Federal Reserve chairman. They still don't have a new guy.
Well, they tried to put Larry Summers in there, but Larry Summers helped engineer the entire derivative scam that's going on. Good points, Flynn. Thank you. Let's talk to Jay in New York. You're on the air on Obamacare. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on? First time caller, long time listener.
Well, welcome.
Yes. I actually have been on this new healthcare system for about going on 2 years now through my company. It's a large global company, and I'll just leave it at that. But basically, they implemented it, and it's more or less a prototype. What I can tell you is that your costs will go up. That is undoubtedly true. People listening, everything that Alex has been telling you is the truth, as well as IRS involvement. And what I have here in front of me is a little postcard I got from Bank of America, which you're forced to do business with, either them or Chase. And it basically is questioning the expenses that are on my healthcare card, debit card, because they give you a debit card, and it questioned them whether or not it is an IRS qualified expense. So the IRS is involved as well.
Oh, no, the IRS is basically the police dog of the whole deal. I mean, this is a nightmare. In fact, they're mainlining NSA data mining out of the healthcare law, admitting that it's going to scoop up all the health records and financials. They're already doing it all. I mean, they're using it as it's 1/7 of the economy. And through that, the tentacles reach even deeper. Great points. Good to hear from you. By the way, La Prensa, that is a major global newspaper, is confirming the bank holiday in Panama. I wasn't denying Goldseek. It's a reputable site. Max Kaiser is also reporting it. La Prensa is Cuban, but they are reporting that. I think it's the biggest paper in Cuba, isn't it? But I've seen them do a lot of good reports. But we'll continue to track that, and there is announcements in Spanish on the National Bank of Panama's website, too. So there is a bank holiday going on there. That is a major scam. For those that don't know, they call it a holiday and then change the rates or take your money, or there's a whole bunch of stuff they can do. Ross in Louisiana, you're on the air. Welcome.
Alex, I was watching Fox News on Tuesday morning, America's Newsroom. Bill Hemmer's interviewing some guy about the Nairobi incident. And at the very end of the interview, the guy, I forgot his name, he says, and I quote, "They won't win, or they can't win if they attack innocents. They can win if they take down airplanes, but they can't win if they attack innocents." And, of course, Bill Hemmer was speaking over him at the time. I had to rewind it to make sure he said what I thought he said. And sure enough, he said that. And it made me think that it was just some kind of cryptic message going out over the national airwaves, giving the go-ahead for airline attacks with the Stinger missiles they got from Benghazi or wherever they may.
Who was he interviewing? Who was he interviewing whenever the person said that?
I don't know the guy's name.
If it was some U.S. retired general, or if it was some creep from the CIA, that is the type of thing, because they do give orders. That's actually true over television. Code words and things. That's actually true. And they put stuff in classified ads, all sorts of stuff. That's where real spycraft goes on. And I've been saying I think they're going to blow up a bunch of airplanes. And it won't matter if the government runs Al-Qaeda and everybody knows it. They'll still just grandstand, take our liberties. It's what they do. You heard Jesse Ventura. I agree with him. I think they're going to stage something here in the U.S. very, very soon, because their stock is going down by the minute, Ross.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I don't doubt it at all. Just maybe if we call them out on it ahead of time, they might, think twice about it. But it's coming. It's coming real soon.
Unfortunately, I think you're right. I'm sorry to Roy and Steve and Mike. Oh, let's take one more from Roy, and then I got to end it here until Sunday when I'm back live. Roy, court ordered to vaccinate child?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Alex?
Now, was this because one of the former spouses wants the vaccination, or was this the court doing it?
Well, me and my wife just recently split up, and it became convenient for her to change her mind on the vaccines because my son's unvaccinated. And we didn't get along, and she kidnapped my boy, and then the judge ordered her to return him to me. And then she figured out if she flip-flops on her vaccine belief, then she'll be.
Yeah, that's what they do. You get the welfare, you get your kid, whoever, the family courts, whoever will vaccinate and all that, they'll do it. So pretty sick. And I hope she's proud of herself. That's why families should not do this. Even if you're going to break up, don't penalize the children over fighting. Oh, how old's your son?
Almost 2.
Oh, man.
Hopefully he got past the dangerous parts. But
I hope she's proud of herself. I hope she's proud of herself.
I just don't know if there's, is there any way I can fight it? Anything I'm sure I could probably turn this into a pretty high-profile case if I just said, hey, I'm not giving the kid back. And
I don't know how to advise you, sir. Send me an email at Show Tips with your whole story, please. Back this Sunday, folks, 4 to 6 p.m. Please pray for us. Pray for ourselves. Pray for liberty. Pray for people to wake up worldwide. Great job, crew. Great job to all the supporters.